It shouldn't take for someone to take on this Herculean task like Zohran, coming out of nowhere and being propped up by simple people power, for the goddamn Democrats to actually turn around and say, hey, maybe we got to change our attitude here. Maybe we got to change trajectory. Stop following after things change, okay? Stop being followers. It's okay to be a fucking leader. Just a heads up, that first election results update includes about 50,000 mail ballots favorable to Cuomo and 384,000 early votes favorable to Mamdani relatively. If Mamdani's up by 10% and or 43,400 votes after all this drops, he'll be in good shape. In case you weren't sure if Zohran had the youth vote, I just got this text. I mean, dude, here's the thing. Is Twitter real life or not? Like, our television, is this going to be a Twitter poster, you know, people who enjoy podcasts and the New York City like youth vote turnout versus people who just watch TV and see an ad and go, oh, I think Zohran is going to put homeless people in the subway stations. Like, he wants to put the homeless in the subways. More homeless in the subways, please. Need a 5,000 word profile on the Mamdani whale yesterday. A user called Gay Pride on Polymarket has $132,926 bet on Zohran Mamdani to win the mayor election at 49.2% odds. That's got to be one of you, right? I assume. The American voter is so fascinating. Uh-oh. Diana Barrett, 65-year-old Detroit, says she ranked Cuomo first because of his record-leading New York during the COVID-19 pandemic and ranked Mamdani second because of his pledges to make the city buses free and lower cost of housing. Cuomo really guided me and my loved ones and so many people through this. And I felt like he was a little railroaded with the sexual allegations she said outside of Brooklyn Borough Hall, alluding to the roughly dozen women who accused the governor of misconduct he denies. But he just has so many good qualities and he has such a history that I want to give him another chance. As for Mamdani, Barrett says, sometimes fresh blood is really nice. This is a paid voter? No, man. No. This is not a paid bot or a paid voter. That's just the average American. Wake up. I think a lot of you are misguided because you spend a great deal of time in this community and you think that, like,
on this primary day, voters and poll workers.
The average voter has like any sense of comprehension, any sense of reason. The median voter is a psychopath, dude. What is this? 6 Trump voters react to U.S. bombing of nuclear sites in Iran. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. One of the big reasons I voted for him was keeping us out of stuff in the Middle East. Every time you show weakness, they take advantage. We voted for him because he would stay out. The bombing was protecting this little tiny nation, but I don't think that we need to be there further. I'm hoping that his campaign promises were true.
Are also dealing with the hot temperatures. We found some using fans at polling sites across the area. It's primary day in New York City, and today voters are casting their ballots for their mayoral Democratic candidate. Christina Fan, live in Morningside Heights with more. Christina?
Well, Chris, despite the oppressive heat, we are finding that voters are coming to polling places feeling energized. Some are here for a particular candidate, others a specific issue, but all say they want to see change in New York City. Even the scorching summer sun couldn't deter the political fervor gripping New York City as a vast crowd of mayoral candidates made last-minute pitches to voters on why they should be the Democratic nominee. Among them, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who greeted poll workers as he cast his ballot on the east side this morning. Many of his recent attacks have been
God, I hate this motherfucker so much.
directed towards State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani,
Yeah, who are you?
polls show closing in. Mamdani, meanwhile, campaigned with fellow candidate Brad Lander, whom he cross-endorsed as they tried to stifle support for the former governor.
We are well positioned to finally turn the page on the politics of the past.
This is someone who is a corrupt and abusive governor, is running a corrupt and abusive campaign.
11 candidates are vying for the Democratic nomination. While early voting numbers were strong citywide, voters were a little sluggish getting to the polls amid the oppressive heat wave Tuesday. But those who did felt enthusiastic about their choice.
I voted for Zohran.
I voted for Lander.
I'm voting for Andrew Cuomo.
I think there's also just so much energy coming out of wanting to rebel against the Trump administration and wanting to be more politically active.
Voters say issues like affordability, housing, and immigration drove them to the polls, in addition to the thought of who will be best suited to take on Mayor Adams, who is running as an independent in November's general election.
Won't say that his entire tenure was terrible, but from the issues that were brought about around some of the misconduct and all of the things that happened in his cabinet, I think it's time for New York City to have a change.
Because of ranked choice voting and multiple rounds of counting that will likely have to take place, political experts say it could be weeks before an official winner is declared. As a reminder, polls close.
Does Adams have a chance? No. No. This race is between Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani. Okay? And it's going to be a close one, I think, judging by what I've seen in the polls. But I truly don't know, because I just don't know, man. I don't know. Because, like, people are just taking a hit of methamphetamine before going to the polls, you know? Like, honestly, I think people just smoke crack before they vote. They're like, oh, I'm accidentally here. I was just doing crack. Let me go vote for Anthony Cuomo. What's his name? Adam Cuomo? Yeah, that guy. I recognize his last name. He was what was he, the previous mayor or something?
Close this evening at 9 p.m. Reporting live from Morningside Heights, Christina Fan, CBS News, New York.
If Cuomo becomes mayor, would anything about him being an improvement over Adams? It seemed like a lateral move at best, if not a downgrade. No, it is a downgrade. It is a downgrade, even from Adams, because Adams at least is like kind of funny. Andrew Cuomo is literally more corrupt than Eric Adams. It's kind of crazy to think.
Emily Ratajkowski and
Zohran Mamdani.
It's election day today. You need to get to the polls. They're open till 9 p.m. What else do they need to know?
Go to zohranfornyc.com/vote. You can find out where your poll site is. Text your friends and family, because we need everybody to come out. And make sure you're drinking water, because it's a very hot day.
This election is going to be decided by young voters. The average New Yorker.
We stand on the verge of a victory that will resonate across the country and the world. Make no mistake, this victory will be historic, not just because of who I am, a Muslim immigrant and a proud democratic socialist, but for what we will do. Make this city affordable for everyone. Because after this rally, as many of us sleep, millions of our neighbors will step out onto moonlit streets across our city. Nurses working.
I think about this a lot, but I fear that if Cuomo still ends up sleepwalking into a fucking marginal victory here, it's so similar to the Bernie Sanders primaries in 2019 and 2020, where it's just like the Democratic Party's primary function is to assassinate the hopes and dreams of the next generation. Any kind of additional pickup that they can get of people who just engage in like harm reduction narratives and like marginally better voting, they'll be fine with that. They are totally capable of shredding their base of support every step of the way. They do not care about hopes. They want to eliminate hope. This will hurt us on, but to be fair, the 2019 primary was sort of an end of history moment in a microwave, but kind of massive compared to everything else. 2020 Nevada primary is the moment of maximum hope that I had. Okay, young buck pulled together an IRL backpack, was ready to trail, to go on the campaign trail following Bernie Sanders. And then the 2020 Nevada primaries happened. Leading up to the Nevada primary, everyone was like, the unions are all backing. Was it Joe Biden? No, what was it? The unions were just not backing. It wasn't even Joe Biden. The unions are not backing Bernie Sanders. They're backing, establishment Democrats or whatever. Okay. It was Pete Buttigieg or something, I think, at the time. And I remember being like, this is not true because I know the rank and file is on board with Bernie and his message. Okay. And we were right. We were right. And Bernie wins after endless amounts of propaganda that he was going to lose in the Nevada primaries. And there was just like so much hope. I remember door knocking and seeing so many people be like, oh, I like that guy, Bernie. What's a primary? I hope he wins. It's like, bro, it's happening today. Why don't you go out? Oh, I don't have time. I don't feel like it. And then COVID. And then Super Tuesday. And then I watch all of my dreams perish in front of my eyes. Everything falls apart. And we're stuck with this decrepit old ass monster. The Jim Clyburn. What you're seeing with Zohran is a microcosm of that. I don't know. Maybe you were too young to remember the Bernie situation. But it is exactly the same, but it's happening in a much shorter period of time where everybody goes, all systems go, time to post endlessly negatively about Zohran. His socialism's scary. His bitches ain't too bad. His weed ain't loud at all. Okay, his smoke is not loud. If Zohran Mamdani wins, they're going to assassinate every Jewish person in New York City, and they're going to assassinate every hedge fund manager side by side. They said the same shit about Bernie. Eric made the video. Oh, this one? Yeah. Hell yeah. Hasanabi heads are all over this campaign, man. They're cooking.
The night shift will put on their scrubs and save lives. Office buildings will be made new again as the midnight shift scrubs and polishes in the dark. And even more, New Yorkers will spend the entire night tirelessly working and return home carrying the burden that it still isn't enough. If New York truly is the city that never sleeps, we deserve a mayor who fights for those of us who labor at every single hour of the day. I will be that mayor.
Chris Matthews went on MSNBC and said Bernie has a coalition of brown shirts, referring to Bernie bros, people like myself. We were brown shirts. Like he said, Bernie was a Nazi. Okay. Bernie, the old Jewish man running for the Democratic Party's presidential candidacy in the primaries, was called a Nazi. Said his fans are brown shirts. And then on top of that, Chris Matthews said that if Bernie Sanders wins, he will assassinate people like him in Central Park. Like he'll round up every wealthy person in Central Park. And he said that unironically, like he just straight up, he meant it, bro. He was like, if Bernie Sanders wins, I mean, I'm sure someone has the video.
Going on here, and is this any way to pick a nominee?
Well, I don't think so, but it is the way we're picking this one, and it looks like Bernie Sanders is hard to beat right now. I'm with Carville all the way in terms of the dangers of what lies ahead in November. I'm very much aware of them. They're sitting on so much Oppo research on Bernie, what he said in the past.
They do say kill the rich, so maybe, yeah, Bernie Sanders says kill the rich in your fantasies, right? This is the problem with American politics. Like you had just half of the voting population is just schizophrenic, and you just have to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like you just have to deal with the psychotic hallucinations of half of the voter base in any race. Okay. Straight up. Like, they will just imagine something happening, and then you have to deal with that. It's like, but that's your paranoid fantasy, man. What do you mean? That's just not real, you know?
It's about world affairs, how far left he is. I'm not sure how far left he is, but they're going to make the most of that in terms of world politics. They're going to kill him. But I think it's a little late to stop him, and I think that's the problem. By the way, if you look at the pattern, it's dynamic. Bernie won the popular vote in Iowa. He won it again in New Hampshire. It looks like he's going to win it here when they finally get a vote. Bernie's been winning consistently, and I think it's mathematically understandable. Every time we poll, every time Steve and everybody polls, 2/3 of the Democratic vote, 2/3 of people who call themselves Democrats are either liberal or very liberal. All Bernie ever had to do, and he's done it beautifully, is get a majority of that, and he's up to the mid-30s. If you get half of 67, you're into the mid-30s, and that's where he's gotten it a little better. Biden, his only prayer was to consolidate the third of the vote that's moderate and conservative. And he got nowhere near clearing that field, nowhere near. That's split up 4 ways now. And so with new people coming in, Deval Patrick came in, he didn't make it. Bloomberg is in, he's probably going to survive a bit longer because of his money. But that field wasn't cleared. The only way Biden could win in that 1/3 of the vote that's either moderate or conservative is to sweep it. He got nowhere near. Bernie, on the other hand, did his job. He got more than a majority. I think this is going to be very frustrating for pundits, very frustrating for media consultants and everyone who's trying to figure this out logically. Bernie Sanders is walking away with it. He's doing it now. He's probably going to win his third contest today, big time.
The happiest person right now, it's about 1:15 Moscow time. This thing is going very well for Vladimir Putin. I promise you. He's probably staying up watching us right now. How you doing, Vlad?
That's absolutely right. And
I'm wondering whether the Democratic moderates want Bernie Sanders to be president. I mean, that's maybe too exciting a question to raise. They don't like Trump at all. Do they want Bernie Sanders to take over the Democratic Party in perpetuity?
Largely people of color. Of those, the majority are Latino, and they are clearly, at least from eyeballing it, strongly in favor of Bernie Sanders, with Joe Biden coming in second. No one.
I was there, bro. I was there. I was there. I watched it happen. You don't understand. You don't understand. Oh my God. Is this how unks talk about like NBA in the 90s or some shit? I was there. You don't know how good Tim Duncan is. You don't know. You don't know how good Tim Duncan is. It was just like, it was Operation Rat, dude. They were losing their goddamn minds, dude. Yeah, this was what I was looking for. Like, in all sincerity, this piece of shit, in all sincerity, said this.
I have my own views of the word socialist, and I'll be glad to share them with you in private. And they go back to the early 1950s. I have an attitude about them. I remember the Cold War. I have an attitude towards Castro. I believe if Castro and the Reds had won the Cold War, there would have been executions in Central Park, and I might have been one of the ones getting executed. And certain other people would be there cheering, okay? So I have a problem with people who took the other side. I don't know who Bernie supports over these years. I don't know what he means by social. 1 week it's Denmark. We're going to be like Denmark. Okay, that's harmless. That's basically a capitalist country with a lot of good social welfare programs. Denmark is harmless.
It's pretty clearly in the Denmark category, yeah.
Are you sure? How do you know? Did he tell you that?
Well, I mean, that's what he says, and that's what his agenda calls for, right?
Yeah.
He's not calling for any...
Let's see. Let's figure that one out.
Well, we haven't seen a campaign yet where video of him praising the other version of Castro has been used.
Well, but
it will be used.
That's a question
of how that plays out.
Of how what the effect that has.
Well, what does he think of Castro? That's a great question. What did you think of Fidel Ismo? We all thought he was great when he first. I thought he was cheering like mad for him when he first went in, and then he became a communist and started shooting every one of his enemies.
Okay, hold those thoughts on the Cuban Revolution. I have to go back to the spin room and Democratic.
This primary in your coverage is how I became a fan and what radicalized me. I'll never forget how Warren and others Bernie. Yeah. Obama made the boss call. God.
one else is as hungry, angry, enraged, and determined as Sanders voters. Democrats need to sober up and figure out what the hell they're going to do about that.
I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940, and the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And
First 2016 primary, it was super delegates, and it was a faucet of anti-Bernie sentiment with an objectively weak candidate that they propped up, Hillary Clinton. And then in 2020, again, another objectively weak candidate was propped up, and the only thing that people would say is all the voters are actually moderate, you're delusional, all the voters are moderate, they love Joe Biden, nobody wanted Joe Biden, but they were like, he's the guy to win it. 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 Holy shit, is Adam watching? Maybe. Like, remember, electability is bullshit. It's not a real metric. It is the only thing you use when you have no policy. And Joe Biden was utterly devoid of policy, which is precisely why what carried him in the primaries from all of the outlets that were covering the primaries was electability.
Mamdani. Yeah.
Bernie lost because he did not. Bernie was going to never win Hassan. Bernie lost because he did not reach voters like me. 73-month subscriber. Literally brainworms. People who are still in the hood, not some burbs. I want to Brian kill me, dude. You're still doing the dumb MSNBC line, dude. Bernard wasn't in the hood with me. He was not in the hood. People in the hood don't with Bernie. Okay, they with Joe Biden, dude. Great. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, dude? Put me out of my misery. Jesus Christ. Joe Biden was not in the hood either. The only reason why he was able to garner support from South Carolina black voters as a primary block was because of Jim Clyburn and the instruments that the Democratic Party's machine has specifically to utilize in exactly moments like this. What are we supposed to do? Not some burbs. People who are still in the hood, not some burbs. Do you think Bernie Sanders' policies would actually be harmful to black people? Do you think that he had bad policies for black people? Do you think it's even remotely possible to actively campaign to black people when the Democratic Party machine is so strong in these neighborhoods, within the church groups, and that they get to literally choose who is the candidate? Don't reveal to this voter that he just does what he's told by the machine of party politics. He might wake up to the fact that he's lived as an actual NPC his entire life. Exactly. That's what's so annoying. You've been in here for 76 months. How the have you not figured out? This is what I'm talking about. People behave like bots. That's not a hate watcher. That's probably a Gen X black voter, okay? Who obviously, clearly, for 76 months of being in here, understands that, I mean, has more radical politics. But still, there's always the same, like, there's always this attitude where people just like regurgitate whatever they heard on television. It is so incredibly strong. It is impossible to penetrate. That's it. Wait, what the that dude is trolling. He's not even black. There ain't no way. Ain't no. I'm gonna lose my mind, I swear to God. I think he was just memeing. He was just he was just memeing. 2 minutes until polls close. That's such a lie, man. I live in the Southeast LA. The first time I met a canvasser was a Bernie Sanders came. Yeah, Bernie dropped the ball with a black vote. Yeah, because the older black vote, which is just the same as like most machine politics, but specifically, like, this is the Democratic Party's hardest to broach, most comfortable demographic. Black women specifically, older black women. Like, older black women vote for the Democrats by like Assad margins, okay? Older black women vote for the Democrats, black women specifically, vote for the Democrats by like Vladimir Putin margins. It is unheard of in democracy, okay? In like in an actual functioning democratic process, this does not happen under any other circumstance, okay? Assad margins is crazy. No, literally, dude, it's 90%. What are we talking about? It's 90+%. That's not a real, like, that is the only, that's unheard of. Like, there is no comparison in modern liberal democracy for any group that is as loyal to a party and a movement. It's not a thing. Like, it does not exist. It does not exist. They are the Fedayeen for the Dems. And it's a really, really robust and really important political machine. But it is directly a faucet for whatever the institutional Democrats are. That machine will never be turned on establishment Democrats. The moment that machine turns on establishment Democrats in the direction of whichever progressive candidate is winning, is stop shitting on black women. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm a black female Gen Xer and I've been insulted all night. I'm literally a black woman who's Gen X and I've been getting shit on all night. Stop shitting on black women. Demi Charm, you are a Gen X black woman. If given the opportunity, would you not vote for Zohran Mamdani? Are you going to sit here and defend Andrew Cuomo? No, of course not. My point is not for someone like yourself. You're in here. So obviously you're not who I'm talking about. Jesus Christ. I did? Okay, there you go. Well, not Andrew Cuomo, I hope. Holy shit. No, you voted for Zohran if you're in New York, right? My point is, Putin only got 87% of the vote, by the way. That's what I'm saying. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Black women as a voting bloc is a more reliable voting bloc that does not exist in other democracies for the Democratic Party. Assad margins is what I mean. Like, is a higher margin than Vladimir Putin, dude. Anyway, New York City mayoral primary election results are coming in. Holy moly. There we have it. All right, stop the vote. Stop the vote. Zohran wins. I'm a black 33-year-old woman, and I used to feel like Bernie wasn't speaking to me. I thought that by not mentioning racial issues directly frequently, that he was uncomfortable with the conversation. I couldn't make the connection on my own between more leftist policies and outcomes that benefit black people like me. I'm so glad I found the space. Yes, I try to make up for that. I try to make up for that as to the best of my ability. One of the things that I think Bernie Sanders did really well was to speak on universality of policies and then talk about how this actually would serve black and brown communities even better than others. Watch the live
here,
coverage.
just now it's just after 9 o'clock. Don't be surprised if those are significantly skewed in favor of Zohran, because we do.
What do we have like a mainstream media? I want to see local news streams.
Ballots that were banked
Did they
during
come
the
out?
early voting
Yeah,
period.
first of all, good evening to both of you, and we are here at the Carpenters Union headquarters here.
The feeling was that Cuomo voters were much more likely to go to the polls on primary day.
Why are all the local news stationed at the Cuomo Carpenters Union Hall?
On those unions for phone banking and get out the vote efforts. Tonight, they have been closely monitoring turnout in strongholds, including the Bronx.
How fitting that a heated primary culminates on a sweltering day. Voters in Co-op City armed with water and determined to have their voice.
Aren't white women, white people similarly comparable voting bloc? No. Are you kidding me? White women always reliably vote for the Republicans, okay? At least consistently, but by 52% or 54%. There is no 90% constituency for any demographic. This doesn't even exist for black men. It's not for black people in general. It's just black women as a voting bloc vote by higher margins for the Democratic Party than literally any like there's no comparison in modern democracy.
Continue to go
go on. He does not have the Working Families Party line yet, but would you like to see the WFP consider or give it to him to go on into the general election?
Zohran Mamdani and his entire campaign team ran a masterclass type campaign this election season. I truly believe that they will win this election. I don't even want to talk about any other ballot line come in November. I do believe I will be casting a ballot or casting a vote for Zohran Mamdani on the Democratic ballot line come November.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilman. So, Errol, again, we're talking to Chiose, Democratic City Councilman from Bed-Stuy, saying that he was able to possibly turn a couple of voters in favor of Zohran Mamdani against Andrew Cuomo.
Let's go.
Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Bernadette. We'll get back to you
Speak
a little bit later.
Chinese
Right now,
him,
we're going to talk to our Bobby Coon.
Speak a little Chinese to him, Chi.
What we are seeing.
I mean, Errol, this is exactly what we talked about. We talked about this first tranche of numbers that we were going to get. It was going to be all the early vote and the mail-in votes that have been processed as of today, and we knew that those numbers were going to skew towards Zohran Mamdani. I mean, you heard our Bob Hart say earlier that this could be the high watermark for Zohran Mamdani, and sure enough, he's up by 7 points once those votes are processed. Now we're going to see
no more
the
votes.
Day of votes, the ballots that were voted today. We're going to see those begin to roll in as well. But the initial numbers came in very strong for Zohran Mamdani,
also
but that will
Chinese.
probably change as the night goes on, as we've discussed.
Why are you
the
testing
day
me?
of votes tend
He's
to
a
favor
Hasanabi head, and I've
former
literally
Governor
had him on the
Andrew
stream.
Cuomo. But right now, Zohran Mamdani with 43%.
He's a quarter Chinese.
Cuomo's 34% and 13% for Brad Lander in third place. So I think we're going to get more data pretty quickly.
I'm
By
white
the way, Adrian
Chinese.
Adams,
He's
City
black
Council Speaker,
Chinese.
in
We've
fourth
established
right now
this
with
already.
just 4%, low single digits. I think over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, we're going to see the numbers really begin to climb, and then we'll get a better sense for where we might land at the end of the night.
Well, yeah, can we see some of the other candidates? Because this is, almost like a sort of a capsule. This is the early
Brad
vote,
Lander
right?
is picking up some
How
steam
did
on
some
the
of the other
first.
candidates do in that early voting period?
Well, I mean, clearly Brad Lander did himself some favors with everything that's happened in the past week, right? He got arrested at immigration court, became a national story. He had a pretty strong debate performance. He, got the, not the endorsement per se, but he got a lot of support from this New York Times opinion panel. And he's at 13%, which is a little bit higher than he had been doing in some of those recent polls. So those are clearly the top three. There's some space between Brad Lander and Adrian Adams in fourth place.
By the way,
Scott
a lot of
Stringer
pickups here
in
for
fifth,
Brad is
just
good for
2%, and
Zohran.
everybody else is down at about
Jessica
1%
Ramos.
or below.
Get the out of here.
Zohran Mamdani, Whitney Tilson, Jessica Ramos, who effectively dropped her campaign, and Michael Blake with only about 1,400 votes total, looking at the raw vote total. So we talked about this being a two-man race, and that is really what it looks like it's going to come down to.
Any policy reasons you prefer Mamdani to Lander, or is he more Riz?
Third place. He's going to accumulate some votes, and assuming this then goes to a ranked choice tabulation a week from now,
that definitely
it's going to make a big difference
for me.
Who those Brad Lander
but
voters
beyond that,
ranked
I mean, he has a lot of progressive policies. Like his platform is more progressive than Lander's, but Lander's is pretty good too.
Will then go to Mamdani once the tabulation
He's
is
an
run.
socialist.
So, a lot of moving pieces here with ranked choice voting. I think the better that Brad Lander does, the better it becomes for Zohran Mamdani tonight.
Okay, very interesting. I have Courtney Gross here with me in studio, and in some ways, not a surprise, right, that Mamdani would do well, but it really sort of sets a marker, right? If he's 10 points ahead now, 9 to 10 points ahead, if he can maintain that throughout the rest of the count.
Early vote by mail by 8, only 3 in Manhattan and 24 in
Like
Brooklyn.
Bobby Kusu was saying in polls that his voters were much more likely
Manhattan
to vote
is not
early.
good though. What the
Really
only
interesting
3
analysis from WNYC and Gothamist, who's really broken down where this early vote was coming from. A lot of it coming from Brownstone, Brooklyn, which is obviously kind of Mamdani territory, including some analysis that showed of the early vote that came in, which was almost 400,000.
This hasn't refreshed.
Almost double the amount that we saw in 2021. That a quarter of those early votes, which is what we're looking at now, were
Why do you think Manhattan would be higher?
Who hadn't voted within the last
last decade.
Potentially
new people who had just moved to New York City, or these young voters that we clearly saw came out who are interested in the Mamdani candidacy and are out there supporting him. It shows he's got some enthusiasm. He's got some grassroots support. I mean, we've heard the lines on the campaign trail for so long that they've knocked on 1 million doors, that they have 40,000 volunteers. And I think that this is what we're showing in these numbers. Will Cuomo be able to catch up?
Y'all are crazy, bro. Manhattan is an incredibly densely populated area. There are poor people that live in Manhattan as well. Why do you think everyone that lives in Manhattan is rich? Early vote thoughts good but not great results for Zohran. Mark Levine in the driver's seat for comptroller. Jumaane Williams blowing out the public advocate's race. Not surprising.
And then he changed his whole schedule to vote on actual primary day to make sure and encourage his voters to get out there, even though it's obviously
young people do vote early in this race at least.
The
Zohran campaign did do a push for early voting.
Well, we've got a race to call.
They did a push for early voting. They didn't do a push for a vote by mail, obviously.
New York 1 is projecting Jumaane Williams as the winner of the Democratic primary election for public advocate. In some ways, Courtney, this wasn't all that much of a surprise, but it looks like it was an overwhelming victory. And in this kind of a case, there's no ranked choice tabulation if you're over 50%.
Yeah, so he is obviously in the clear here. Jennifer Raj-Kumar was trying to challenge him, clearly a very close ally of Eric Adams. You know, we've detailed and documented over the many months leading up to this primary how often Jennifer Raj-Kumar was with Eric Adams at press conferences. Our other colleagues in the media have done the same. I wonder if some people might see this race in particular as some sort of litmus test on the Adams administration, because Jennifer Raj-Kumar is clearly so close to the mayor. This was a race that many people didn't pay that much attention to. People thought that Jumaane Williams was clearly in a strong position, wasn't necessarily at risk of losing his seat.
Right. And so even with only what the Board of Elections says is about 14%, a little under 14% of the vote of the scanners having been fed in, that lead is so commanding when you
Zohran getting killed on the Upper East Side, not doing so hot on the Upper West Side either, but there's a much larger Brad Lander vote there that may end up being friendly to him. A clear weakness relative to the Manhattan juggernaut that was Catherine Garcia. I suspect this is where the Brad Lander, this is where Brad Lander comes to help, because there's definitely, I mean, these are wealthier neighborhoods, but then also, I mean, it's both wealthier neighborhoods, but it's also, depending on, like, Upper East Side is, Upper East Side also has, it's not just the rich people on the Upper East Side. It's also, there's also the constituency of black voters as well, right? Isn't that Upper East Side? But there's also a large percentage of the I'm worried about anti-Semitism voters there as well, for sure. Harlem is more uptown. This is only 307 votes. Oh, this doesn't, I mean, where do we get the next 60% of voters? Mamdani is only narrowly ahead of Cuomo in Manhattan, but that's mostly a fairly strong Brad Lander performance. By vote share, Cuomo is doing slightly better in Queens and slightly worse in Brooklyn.
To reach those folks? And what are the key issues that matter to the people in your district?
You know, well, throughout this campaign, we've seen the Cuomo campaign really engage with Black and Latino voters and Asian voters.
Bro, how is she still glazing Cuomo? That's crazy. Oh,
to want to be the next Manhattan borough president. There is no incumbent in the race. State Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel and City Councilman Keith Powers are fighting to win that job. And now for the money watchdog, New York City Comptroller's job is up for grabs. Lots of contenders here. Current Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, City Council Finance Chair.
Guys, stop sending me the poly market surge, please. That is the most meaningless thing of all time. You're just desperate for copium. Stop. Staten Island incoming. 46% of scanners reported. Cuomo with 7,000. Mamdani with 5,000 votes. Lander with 1,000 votes. Adams with 695 votes. Most of the E-Day voters from the South Shore, not at all what Cuomo needs. Yeah, it's also an ad. Yeah, literally. It's like a free ad for them. Zohran is cooked in the Bronx. Dave Weigel voice, I've seen enough. That's not Dave Weigel. It's Dave Wasserman, I think, isn't it? Is the one that does the I've seen enough.
Interesting to see who has the other citywide races, whether the incumbent Jumaane Williams stays in the public advocate role. Not a role that has a lot to it except criticizing the government, unless, as we heard from...
Yes, Zohran is not supposed to win any favors until like multiple rounds in. But judging by early vote, because these are the dumps that are coming in right now are supposed to be, as far as I understand, early votes and mail votes. Okay, so depending on Zohran's performance overall in the early votes versus the mail votes, you can make an assessment on how this will play out. Obviously, we don't know with ranked choice voting. We don't know. If nothing else, those surveys from Cuomo line packs that showed him up 12 points look very off base. Where's Kornacki when we need him? I don't want to hear from Kornacki. I saw him talk about Zohran like he was a scary guy. So Anthony Weiner has fallen to... Wait, what are you sending me? What are you showing me? See the New York Times? All right, getting back to the New York Times. Where is it? All right, more dumps. Okay. Andrew Cuomo making a modest gain over Zohran Mamdani in the new dumps. Not that consequential. Zohran winning precincts in all 5 boroughs with the early vote.
Projects don't get to go through, so obviously you're going to be close with developers, and
we won't know for weeks, yes, but we can make an assessment
all across the city. But clearly, she came out ahead tonight. Not altogether surprising, but there's always. I remember she was here not too long ago when Salamanca decided not to participate in our debate, and I was talking to her, and she's like, no matter who the competitor is, you always run like it's a real race.
Yeah, you don't want to sort of try and change whatever somebody's strategy is, but we always encourage people to come in and debate. Like, let people hear what your vision is. It can only help you. And we're sad that he didn't take advantage of that. Let's go to Bobby Kuza at the big board. He's got some information for us about the controller's race.
Yeah, we're taking a look at City Comptroller Mark Levine and Justin Brannan, the leading candidates in this one. Mark Levine right now with a pretty convincing lead, up 13 points on Justin Brannan. Not really a huge surprise. I mean, I think if you had to choose a favorite or a front runner in this race, it would have had to have been Mark Levine, the Manhattan Borough President, a relatively high-profile elected official. But Justin Brannan himself got a lot of support in this race, including from the progressive left. I mean, we saw him endorsed by the likes of Bernie Sanders and a number of other left-leaning advocacy groups and elected officials, and it seemed like maybe in the closing days and closing weeks of the race, he had begun to kind of narrow that gap. I mean, the only polling in this race came about a month ago, and I believe it had Mark Levine up by about 20 points. So compared to that, Justin Brannan has sort of narrowed the margin, but right now Mark Levine with a pretty comfortable lead in the early going of this race.
And there was another candidate in that race, right? Do you have numbers for Kevin Parker?
Yes, not to give Kevin Parker short shrift, but he's landed only down at 6%. He's a state senator from Brooklyn. He has run for office many times before, and some of the polling actually had showed him in the teens, but right now down at 6%. So he's in 4th place, actually, in this 4-man race.
Yeah, so the way people think, and I'm sure some of Brannan's supporters are thinking, it's like, well, look, if we've got some second choice votes coming from those 2 other candidates, this could in fact be a close race by the time the numbers are all counted.
Right, and this is one of those races where we're not only going to be looking at the margin, we're going to be looking at how close this number is to 50%. Because if this race was over right now, obviously Mark Levine would have, a significant lead, but with less than 50%, he couldn't announce he was the victor. This would have to wait until next Tuesday in ranked choice voting. And in theory, yeah, like you said, if all of Ismail Malave's votes and all of Kevin Parker's votes went to Brannan, which is unlikely, but it is, a mathematically possible possibility, then in that case, he could actually surpass Mark Levine. Of course, that's the way ranked choice
I was
works
on the wrong tab the whole time, my bad.
In practice, it doesn't always mean you can make
Calm
up
down,
that
everybody.
much ground. We saw it almost happen in the mayor's race 4 years ago with Eric Adams, but that may have
This
been
half of Brooklyn early vote by early vote and
with this
mail.
kind of lead, it's very
Mamdani
hard
is
for the second or third
60%,
place
bro. He
finisher to make up
cooked
that
on
ground.
Brooklyn.
Got it. And while you're there, Bobby, could we look at some of the numbers for the borough?
He really
races that
locked
we
down
just
the
called?
podcast constituency,
We
dude.
gave
It's
Sort of
crazy.
the top line number about who won, but I'm very curious as to what the percentages look like.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at Vanessa Gibson. So I got to say, this race I thought was going to be a lot closer because Rafael Salamanca, you know, relatively well-known city councilman from the South Bronx. He's being term limited out of office. So, you know, gunning for Vanessa Gibson, who is a relatively popular borough president. She's been a lawmaker in the Bronx for a long time. It's not that often that you see a sitting elected official like this, who's pretty well liked, actually being primaried by another prominent elected official. But Rafael Salamanca got a lot of money in this race. He had some endorsements, but in the end, Vanessa Gibson seems to be running away with this thing, not particularly close. And then in the other one, we were looking.
Oh shit. I was muted this whole time. Oh my God. That's crazy. Mamdani's early votage is powered by East Corridor in Western Queens and Brooklyn, but he's also scoring key wins in Hispanic pockets like Washington Heights and Corona and Asian enclaves such as Bay Ridge and Bensonhurst. Okay, everybody, I know I was muted in front of 60,000 people. Shut up.
This has been overshadowed by the mayor's race, of course. The controller's position, however, very important, especially in
Brad Lander clearly emerging as the first choice for a lot of progressive but not lefty college ed liberals. How well these voters adhere to the cross endorsement could make or break Mamdani. It won't be 100% of them. Yeah, it definitely won't be. If we see a lot of go from Brad Lander to Cuomo, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. Imagine they're just like, we were really worried about the anti-Semitism, as in translation, Islamophobic cross voters that were like, we like Lander, but if it's not him, you know, we'll go with Cuomo. My mom voted Lander 1 and Cuomo 4. Wait, what? Cuomo 4? Why did your mom rank Cuomo? The one thing that everybody was saying was like, don't rank Cuomo. That was the major thing, man. What happened? Is that Gretchen Whitmer?
And through this campaign, what I've loved is watching the young people throughout the city campaigning for different candidates, not just for mayor, but for city council and controller and borough president. The young people who worked for us, banging doors and campaigning every day. They represent the future of this city. And you know what they're saying? They want change. And they're not willing to wait, and neither.
Scott Stringer is a strong showing. Strong showing by Scott. I don't really care to hear what he had to say. I'm going to be honest. No disrespect.
But that's just me. Do you think that was an effective ad?
When I saw it, I wondered how the volunteers stood behind him when he was eating all the pens and everything like that. What would happen there? That was my thought. Volunteers on that thing. It connected to people. I think the challenge is any of these ads are about what? Name ID or an issue. And I think this one was good for name ID and getting the earned media.
JC?
But
I think this was a great ad.
But it was a distraction.
No, I think it was a great ad because he's saying, hey, listen, even with all the drama, I can still do the work.
More dumps.
So that was a great ad. I'm with you,
50K voter, 50K voter total numbers.
When he walks in through the restaurant, did you hear this guy was going to freeze the rent? And it became almost as if synonymous. When you see Mamdani, you think freeze the rent.
What is this? I would say this is just really Lander consolidating a lot of the other candidates' support, and I think his cross endorsement is the whole ball game. We'll see what the exhaustion rate is.
A vote to defund the police. That's why the New York Times calls Mamdani uniquely unsuited. He shows little concern about the disorder.
That was effective and helped Andrew Cuomo, or it was being able to be used by Mamdani to say it was Islamophobia?
Mamdani using stuff and defending it as saying something like that just shows it's working. If you don't respond, if you respond to an ad, it means it's working, it's penetrating. The other question would be, how much money do they put behind it and to who? one of the problems, I think, if you look back at the Cuomo race, they did not go after their opponent early enough, and they went maybe too little too late, and this ad could have been out a week earlier.
I didn't see anything offensive in that.
They should have started fucking calling him a terrorist before.
Really well done. I got
Great
to see
assessment,
some of the
sir.
things that
Thank
he
you.
had said. They actually labeled the times he said from the police. And it was also very interesting to see the empty elevator. You know, he's had a staff that you could fit in a New York City elevator. So it's a very good attack ad to define your opponent. I saw nothing wrong with that.
But do you think that it was effective in making Andrew Cuomo's case that actually he has more experience?
Of course. It made the case because, hey, listen, this man has a staff that you could fit in an elevator, and look at some of the things he said about defunding the police.
And those are things you've been talking about. The question becomes, that message works, but was there enough money behind it? That's always the question in any ads. Do they do them digitally? Who do they go after? And when you buy cable TV nowadays, you need to go on there for 2 weeks
for it
to penetrate the audience. If you're on broadcast, you can do it in a
Isn't this really good? Isn't this actually good as for Mamdani from Staten Island? That's crazy. He's like 2,000 behind Cuomo in Staten Island. Wait, are white men? Dude, white men are kind of goated. What the? Dude, white men rise up. Oh my Lord. That's like, what does he have? Like a cop constituency? What the is this? White men rise up? What? Dude, white guys are back? What's happening? That's crazy. That is crazy. White men are going to save us. Okay, let's chill on the white man.
Said in the last debate,
listen, if Zohran wins with the white man vote, trust me, I'm never stopping. Okay, it's white boy summer. It's jihad summer, but it's white male jihad summer. Okay,
pumped a ton of money in Cuomo's direction in a short amount of time. Could we see something like that happen to Mayor Adams potentially in the general?
Oh, absolutely. And we can think about the role of President Trump in this case, who may well endorse and not endorse the Republican Curtis Sliwa, who doesn't stand much of a chance in this case unless something tectonic changes in the election. We know that there's already been a relationship largely around immigration enforcement. So that's a dynamic to look at, too. That could bring both benefits and difficulties in electoral terms because Donald Trump is not popular in this city. So that remains very much to be seen as we roll into the general election phase after tonight.
Yeah, very interesting, very exciting. David Birdsell, we have to leave the conversation there, but
the entire Zohran voting blog is basically white boys who say inshallah. Okay. White boys who say inshallah are up big this year. Okay. This is what it is. This is the method. I didn't even realize.
Standing by. Kelly.
That's right. We're still waiting on the candidate to get here. The speaker, she should be here shortly. But we are joined by our top and most visible supporter, the Attorney General, Letitia James.
I just voted. Okay. Slasher, our anti-Semitism correspondent. He's my Jacob Kornbluth. Slasher, who is my very own Jacob Kornbluth style Forward magazine correspondent, reporting live from New York City, which is now under the guidance of the Gestapo. He says, just voted for my boy Zohran before polls close. A dozen Shomrim cars have immediately surrounded my apartment on the Upper West Side. I'm scared for white boy summer.
Still young, but he is winning. And again, it really represents the excitement that I saw on the streets all throughout the city of New York.
Wait, what?
And I
Andrew
haven't
Cuomo
seen
got
this
0 votes in
since
this
Barack
dump? That doesn't
Obama
make any
ran
sense.
for president of these United States. When the community in the streets was shut down all over the city with young people shouting for change. And that's what they want. Listen, just like those young people, and I'm not, obviously I'm a mature woman. I do not, and I reject fear. And there was a lot of fear politics that were injected into this race, and it's unfortunate. And what's so great about this is that New Yorkers rejected fear, and that we will not be divided. And I can assure everyone who is concerned about his platform, that I'm going to do my very best to bring everyone together so that we all can be respected.
Call it early, total victory.
Of your race, your ethnicity,
That's
or your
enough.
religion.
I've seen enough. No more votes should be collected, I think. Stop counting. We got enough votes. Stop the count. It's fine. There's not enough. Guys, I'm going to make the boss call right now. we should just stop counting. Okay, everybody, how about we just stop counting right now? What do you guys think? Come on. It sounds like a good idea. Come on. This is a good amount of vote. Dude, come on. This is a good amount of people that have voted. Why do you need 1 million plus people voting? That's too many votes. Okay? I think we should just stop it right here. How about let's let bygones be bygones. It doesn't matter if other people don't get to have their vote counted. We can, because this seems like the best possible outcome. I think everyone will be comfortable. That's what I'm thinking. What are you guys thinking? Seems good, right? You should look at this if you want hopium overload. Mamdani in Manhattan at 39% with 51% scanners reported. Zohran lead growing with E-Day. The 18% Lander in RCV is a nightmare for Cuomo. Lander at 18%. Holy Cuomo at Cuomo at 34% at 65,392 votes. Okay, it's just fine though. Guys. This is a good amount. This is a healthy amount of voting. This is a healthy amount of voting that has taken place. I think we need to call it here. We need to let bygones be bygones. Like, I'm doing a Dave Wasserman, but this time I'm saying, like, you know, stop counting. Stop counting. This is good. This is a good amount of counting. Another dump has hit the Twin Towers.
And why she is a primary candidate tonight. We'll hear from
I
her
don't
a little
see
bit
it.
later. Back to you, Errol.
Okay, thanks very much, Kelly. And we've been looking at the numbers. Courtney Gross, I mean, we're over the 50% number, meaning more than half of the vote for mayor is in at this point. What patterns are you seeing?
So we're going borough by borough.
Okay,
It just
well,
updated
we
on
don't
my
know that
screen
yet.
here. But, you know,
I'll only figure out if Mamdani actually has a real shot at winning if these guys start panicking. Okay, that's the best possible way to figure out if Zohran Mamdani has a good shot at winning here. Once they start hitting the, oh my God, they're gonna assassinate every single one of us like Pol Pot style for wearing glasses and being counter-revolutionary. Only then will I know Zohran Mamdani is actually
is quite interesting
he's got
to me,
this in the
especially
bag.
when you go and you dig into some of the more the demographic data in some of these districts. I'm thinking about Harlem. That is a community.
Well,
I
they
was
mentioned
in
Sharia
Harlem
law.
with Andrew Cuomo a few weeks
9/11.
ago, covering an endorsement by Governor David Patterson and the former assemblyman for that district, Keith Wright. And I'm looking at the assembly district for 71. And Zohran Mamdani has double the number of votes of Andrew Cuomo in that district. That to me shows that even though the polling has shown that perhaps Zohran Mamdani was not doing well with black voters and 50% of black voters were in Andrew Cuomo's camp, that maybe there was a demographic shift and there ended up being more black voters in Mamdani's camp. Of course, preliminary numbers, 50% still need to come in. Cuomo was doing very well on Staten Island, like we heard the Attorney General say, who's digging clearly into these numbers as we do as well. And he's doing well in the Bronx, which we've seen from the polling that is turning out to be the case.
Well, you know, as they say, it gets late early around here. The percentage of scanners at this point is over 2/3. If this is a basketball game, we'd be in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter. There's going to be a shrinking amount of time and a shrinking number of votes. And as you know, we knew that, and as we've told our audience, whoever gets to 50% first is the winner. So this lead that we've been looking at since the first numbers came in shortly after 9 shows Zohran Mamdani about 7 points away from 50% and victory. Andrew Cuomo, again, we're expecting
6.
numbers to come in for
You
him.
can say
but
6. It's 43.8. Come on, don't be stingy.
Going
It's 6
2 to
points.
1 for Mamdani. That is striking, and that is telling, and that could tell the story.
Yeah, originally when we first got that
Mamdani
first
up
tranche of
21 in
voters
Brooklyn.
coming, or early votes
62%
coming in, there was a
scanners
10-point
reported,
lead.
hitting
Mamdani had 9 or 10
without
points, and
ranked
now
choice
that's
voting.
shrunk to
Zohran winning
about 8
precincts in
points.
Bensonhurst and
But
Dyker Heights.
He's at 43.8% of the vote right now, and like
That's
you
crazy.
said, it just takes 50%
Oh my God,
plus
the
1.
podcast
You know,
vote,
we have
dude. Oh my
about
God, I am
40%,
so
30.
Dude, I joked. I said the podcaster vote was insignificant. It was inconsequential. I was wrong, okay? It's got all the motion, okay? Nick Mullen left, rise up. It's actually real. It's the podcast is real. All the boys, they got together, the Chapos, the Truanons, the Come Towns of the world. This community as well, I think, is like in the podcast circuit as well. I did not realize that Brooklyn was the crown jewel of New York. I had no idea, okay? I did not know it was like that.
Hey there, Errol. And I'm from the Bronx, who is a Mamdani supporter. He also serves with him in the state legislature.
I do not see a scenario where Zohran Mamdani will not be the Democratic nominee come ranked choice voting final
now,
round.
You've been out with Mamdani on the campaign trail, and now we're seeing just in the early reporting that Mamdani looks like he's ahead of Andrew Cuomo. What do you think made a difference within the final days of this campaign?
The thing that made the difference in the final days of the campaign is the same thing that made the difference from the beginning of the campaign. This has been an incredibly well-run campaign. The message discipline has been, I mean, just second to none, because it has been a consistent thing. How do we connect with people's lives? How do we change people's lives? How do we make our city more affordable? That is a message that cuts across the board. And these are early numbers, but they're positive. And
bro, I have not let myself, believe, because I've been let down so much. Okay, I have been let down so much, as many of you have as well. I mean, but it seems like I'm seeing a lot of movement here in a very interesting direction, and it's causing me to, dare I say, feel just a crumb, just a little bit of hope. I don't know. I don't want to say anything too crazy, okay? But it does look kind of good, I think.
I think that the message has a lot to do with the message.
It's very dangerous feeling. Very dangerous feeling.
I believe that a lot of the reasons why the governor started talking about affordability is because Zohran was talking about affordability. I mean, I think if you would have asked me
no one
this
gets
time
50%,
last year
no,
what this campaign was going to be about, the mayoral
the
campaign,
whole point of
everybody would have probably said it's going to be
the whole
about
point of ranked choice voting.
But the reality is that the narrative changed, but it only changed because I believe that the Zohran campaign actually connected with what is really the worry of people's everyday lives. So certainly public safety is a concern, but affordability is a longer-term concern that cuts across all boroughs, all
Forecaster Harry Enton says, "Holy Toledo!" I'll read it in his voice. Regarding New York City mayor, I think it's notable how different Emerson is from the other nonpartisan polls out there, and how much weight the conventional wisdom is giving Emerson, i.e., a lot. Now, to be fair, Maris and Manhattan out of the field earlier, still quite the split. A lot of Holy Toledo! A lot of the folks were paying close attention to this race, and I haven't been really. We were very much thinking Mamdani was being underplayed by polling. See early voting pre-Emerson. But if Emerson is right, you can't say they heard it. I'd also point out that primary polling is really, really hard. The average presidential primary poll is off by like 9 points. Throw a municipal election and ranked choice voting. My goodness, it's tough. So kudos to the people putting their necks on the line. Are they panicking? Is it panic mode? Is it panic hands? Is it panic hand time? Momdaniacs, rise up. Okay, this feed has got nothing. This feed's got nothing. What?
To the Trump administration and the hatred and the division that it spews. We are showing people that hope.
The mood is shifted inside of Andrew Cuomo's camp as early ballots continue to come in for socialist hopeful Zohran Mamdani. Sources tell the Post they are unsure Cuomo can make the gap with about a quarter of the vote left uncounted.
New York City that a better day is possible. And today is the first of many of them.
This is old. It's from 638. What are you talking about?
Mamdani is endorsed by Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the Working Families Party. He is expected to show up here a little bit later in the night. It's going to be probably a late night here, but we will bring that to you as soon as he arrives. We're live for now in Long Island City, Queens.
White guys rise up, dude.
All right, Allie, thank you.
Look
and
at
one
this.
of the things about ranked choice voting, some of the candidates have teamed up to sort of cross
Staten
endorse
Island?
each other. That is the case at our next headquarters. Let's go out.
Staten Island? What is happening? 38% for Zohran Mamdani at Staten Island? He's trailing behind by fucking 2,000 points in Staten Island? What is going on? I don't understand. What is this? What does this mean? Is Staten Island Hamas? I thought like Brooklyn is definitely Hamas. You know what I mean? Staten Island maybe like, Islamic Jihad, Palestinian Islamic Jihad Island, maybe. It's weird how they're not Democrats, but dude, they're voting for a brown Muslim socialist. He is the least likely candidate to come out of, like, I didn't think that would happen.
Let's check in now with our Dan Rivoli. He's standing by at the campaign party in Park Slope for Brad Lander. Lander, of course, cross-endorsed with Mamdani late in the campaign, so in some ways this is good news for them as well. Good evening, Dan.
Hey, good evening, Errol. The mood here is big, it's ebullient, and it's not because of the open bar.
When I spoke to a Lander campaign official before the polls
Staten
closed,
Island
they said
right
they
now?
had 2 goals in this race: win the
Yeah.
primary and prevent
The return
Andrew
for Cops
Cuomo
for
from
Bernie.
getting the Democratic nomination. And now, with the polls as they're counting the votes, they are really excited to see
If cops
Mamdani.
can fucking ride the libertarian logo, if cops can be libertarian, they can be socialist too, maybe? I don't know. I mean, it literally doesn't make any sense. Adam Carlson calls it. Did I just get locked out of Twitter? What the was this? Stick a fork in it. Zohran Mamdani will win the first round of the Democratic primary for New York City mayor. Zero path forward for Cuomo to make up that ground with RCV. A Muslim immigrant Democratic Socialist, the front runner. Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah, I didn't get logged out. It was the MX1 thing that was in the link that chatter sent. Check out the New York Times photo of the Cuomo watch party. Oh, brother.
And JC Polanco. But
This lady, okay, I want to hear from her because she's always throwing daggers. This too. This potato man right here. Let's see how they're feeling.
Effect on this race, do you think?
It took the press for the day, but beyond that, it was a campaign stunt.
It was a campaign stunt, no doubt. But let me tell you, Brad Lander went from who knows Brad Lander to being on national television last night. The whole world now knows who Brad Lander is. He's been on every national TV show ever. And considering that he cross-endorsed Assemblyman Mamdani, it bode well for the Assemblyman, him having to get arrested. I'll tell you this,
81% of
next
votes
idea,
in.
maybe just get arrested. You may get some points.
So let's talk about the endorsements. So Mamdani got endorsed by AOC and Bernie Sanders. Did that help or hurt?
It definitely helped, no question about it. I think the mistake Mamdani made on that was not rolling it out as one of her.
Oh, this was previously recorded. I want a real-time, immediate feedback from those guys. Oh, they were chirping earlier about how awesome the Islamophobic anti-Mamdani ads were. I want to know. I want to know what's up.
He's been beside me every step of my career. He believed in me before I was even elected and helped get me to where I am today. And so I'm excited. I'm disappointed he wasn't #1 tonight, but I'm excited to see what he wants to do next. And whatever that is, electoral politics or otherwise, I'm eager to play a part in it.
And seeing the polls leading up to Election Day and now seeing the results, what do you think it says about the electorate and what Democrats here in the city
Future
want from
CBS
their
owner
nominee?
David Ellson's been eyeing a role for Barry Weiss at CBS
Leaders who are
News.
going to fix their problems. There is a huge housing crisis.
For 60
There is a
minutes,
huge
I thought it couldn't
affordability
get
crisis.
worse.
There is a child care crisis. People can't afford to live in this city. People want action. They don't want solutions from people who caused these problems a decade or so more. They are demanding action. They want Congress to act. They want the federal
Don't show
government
me
to
that.
act. They want our
No,
state
stop. I
government
don't
to
want to
act.
even.
And
I
they
don't want to
certainly
even
want our
acknowledge
city
that.
government to act.
Stop. No, the 10 is too big. Okay, the 10 is too big. I don't want to
Or
acknowledge
came
that
from
sort of
white
stuff.
voters, high income, high educated. Do you think that is still holding, or do you think the vote is reflecting a broader support than what the polls had indicated?
Zoran's working class support looks like it was dramatically underestimated by polling.
Places like that.
I haven't had a chance to really see an update of numbers or see where things are, so I can't really speak to that. I'll just say that anyone who wants to be a successful mayor of New York has to build a coalition that covers the full spectrum of New York City. That's
Bro,
the
if your
recipe to
dumbass
success.
didn't miss your
That's
11
what we
p.m.
need to see
flight, you could have been at the
any
victory party with the
nominee
Cumboys.
who has
Dude, I don't
shot
give a
of November and then governing
Listen.
for the next 4 years,
Listen.
particularly in this age of Trump.
This is a glorious day, no matter where I'm at in the world. Are you kidding me? I don't give a shit if I'm not there. I'll be there tomorrow if I want to. I'll be there by the end of this week. This is for everybody. Okay, this is a W for everybody. Also, I did say that I would move to New York for a little bit if Zohran Mamdani became the mayor. Maybe the old Democratic establishment starts throwing their weight behind candidates their voters keep saying they don't want just an idea. Look at that. Look at that. The commentariat is coming in. The commentariat is now coming in. The reason why this race is important, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything crazy. But the reason why this race is important is because everybody focused on the New York mayor. When Eric Adams won, people started fantasizing about him becoming the next president, okay? The next presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Obviously, that was laughable. He was dog shit, and we all knew that. But all the dog shit commentary people, not saying the Podjohns are, but like the Nate Silvers, the Nate Browns of the world, were running around talking about how Eric Adams is going to be the next president. That was what Matty Iglesias was saying, okay? Everybody is Everybody's paying attention to this race at a time when there is a very unique dynamic within the base of support for the Democratic Party and the Democratic establishment and their ineptitude becoming glaringly obvious. People are looking for a fighter. Zohran Mamdani represented that change. He represented that dynamism. He's young. He's fresh-faced. He is uncorrupted by the normal forces that have caused all of this awfulness that New Yorkers are experiencing. People like Andrew Cuomo. It's almost like a Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders style situation. Okay? The fight is not over regardless. He still hasn't crossed the finish line. And even if he crossed the finish line in the primaries, make no mistake, I can totally see the Democratic Party and the forces that were trying to Zohran at the end will maybe even take it and do something like an India Walton style situation and try to prop up Andrew Cuomo. These guys are disgusting, okay? They are pathetic, vile demons. Do you understand? So the fight is not over yet, which is part of the reason why I'm not, overly ecstatic. But this is a really good sign. It's not just a really good sign for New York City. It's not just a really good sign for New York City. It's a really good sign because this is one of those undeniable sea change moments that could potentially pick up steam, okay? Just like what the Justice Democrats election victories did in the primaries under the first Trump administration. This is an opportunity once again, and this time the Democratic Party is even weaker than it was before. So if they don't do it for us, we will force them out, okay? If they don't actually represent the interests of their constituents, this is an opportunity for us to represent our own interests by force and claw back power from the corrupt gerontocracy that is so comfortable in their seats, so comfortable with business as usual politics because they are getting paid by the same corporate benefactors as the Republicans are. I have never seen, this past week 100% proved it, okay? 85% of the American public said no war with Iran. 5% said yes to war with Iran. Donald Trump went to war with Iran, and not a single Democrat in a position of power, like in higher ranking Democrats, actually came out and unconditionally said, what the f are we doing here? We don't want war with Iran. Nobody in this public wants, nobody in the American population wants war with Iran, and we're spending billions of dollars at the behest of Israel to go to war with Iran, doing war crimes, bombing nuclear facilities and shit like that over there, when we got cities that have homeless people everywhere. Cities are crippled. Infrastructures are crippled. Nobody has health care. There's an affordability crisis that's looming. All these, like Donald Trump supposedly won on the affordability crisis message, and he hasn't done dick. All he's done is deport your neighbors, and not a single Democrat in a position of prominence is actually using this to their advantage, even from a cynical, cold, calculated view. At this point, you have to assume that they like what's going on. They see all the violence, they see all the indecency, and they stay quiet because they don't want to do anything about it because they like what the Republicans are doing. Okay? Layoffs happening everywhere. There's so much instability. And then we have the Gestapo black bagging people in the middle of the street with their faces covered. Nobody knows if they're cops even. Maybe some of them are white supremacists that are deputized by ICE. And we just have to sit around and take it. It's bullshit. Okay? This is why people like Zohran are important. Okay? They give people the audacity of hope, the audacity to dream that politicians could actually represent the interests of their constituents for once. They could actually run on a progressive message for once. And they can be uncompromising and unconditionally brave enough to say, no, I like this. I think we can do this. I think we can help the working poor. I think we can have free buses. I think we can have state-owned grocery stores as a pilot program. Modest social democratic reforms in one of the wealthiest cities on the planet, and people are talking as though they're going to do they're going to assassinate every landlord in the city. It's bullshit. There will be no capital flight. Make no mistake. There will be no capital flight from New York City. Okay? It's bullshit. Even the mere threat of capital flight is enough for so many in the media to just immediately go, oh, we can't have this. We can't have this. Well, there's more of us than there are of them. Do you understand? What's wild is the election day ballots may have broken more to Zohran than the early voting, a huge showing. Cuomo was about to be broken, says Ross Barkin. I'm not going to speak like it's over, but goddamn, dude, the gap between the Democratic political class and the party's voters on this issue is colossal. Look at this. This is not just the Democrats either. Look at this. Independents also disapprove of this heavily. I'm biased, but it's super nice to have prediction. Oh, he's just doing a Polymarket. Stop sending me Polymarket tweets, please. Nate Silver is a hack and a charlatan and is doing Polymarket ads without revealing that he's doing Polymarket ads. But because the FTC doesn't work anymore, no one is going to regulate them, okay? Michael Lang has called it. What about Andrew Cuomo's finished? Dave Wasserman called it. No, that's not really Dave Wasserman. You dick. Chatter, why are you like this? Yeah, Dave Wasserman's thing is not Calypsio or whatever. This is not a real tweet from Dave Wasserman. More good news for the New York City left. From Taniel, excellent news for the New York City left. There were 10 city council members of the Progressive Caucus who faced primary challengers today, some of them very ideologically polarized primaries. All 10 incumbents are leading by a lot. I like that I said stop sending me Polymarket bets, and you literally are sending me instead Kalshi tweets. I don't care about any of those things, okay? I don't care about betting market shit. The election center projection is Zohran Mamdani is a projected winner in New York City mayor Democratic primary. He will defeat Andrew Cuomo and Brad Lander. Yeah. What happened, dude? I thought the Jewish New Yorkers were so scared and they were so Islamophobic. Turns out that was actually a bullshit narrative coming from just the media.
A longtime Democratic consultant.
As I've said time and time again, they are Jews in New York. If they cared about Israel, they would be living in Israel. They'd be Jewish in Israel, okay? They are not living in Tel Aviv. They're living in New York. They got New York problems. They don't have Tel Aviv problems. They have New York problems. They could just as easily live in Israel if they wanted to. What the are they living in New York? Because they're New Yorkers.
With him. So how do you think that the former mayor is feeling tonight?
Look, I haven't talked to him tonight. When Mike endorsed former Governor Cuomo, put out a really heartfelt, thoughtful, and frankly great statement. I did not write it, in which he emphasized that no candidate is perfect. And maybe if Andrew Cuomo and his team had gone and agreed that no candidate is perfect more often, more voters would have given him support right now. He's still alive, but as it looks right now, his argument...
Actually, you know what? I've come to realize, I take it back. The Jewish population of New York is just Hamas. That's what it was. Because it's one or the other, you know what I mean?
The governor wasn't
They're just
contrite
very
enough,
anti-Semitically not caring about Israel being a Jewish
why he was driven from office
majority
that we're seeing these
ethno-supremacist
results tonight where Zohran Mamdani is clearly in a very good
anti-Semitism.
position going into the potential ranked choice voting scenario or computation that will occur on July 1st at noon.
I will say that
I'm factual.
Part of the
Discussion
is a good guy. Be nice.
Nice guy, lousy politician.
Oh, come on. On that note, be nice, be nasty. We're sending it back to Jessica and Doug.
I could watch this all night.
Yeah, I hope nobody's feelings are too hurt over there. You guys going to be okay?
I've got a little thin skin sometimes.
All right, OB's got to recover. Okay, thanks, guys.
I'm as New York as it gets. Born in Brooklyn.
What is this? You like these polls? Those are all the polls covering June. All my normie friends don't care a single iota about politics and had zero idea who was running. I knew Zohran was going to do well when they asked me who was running and went, what? When I told them Cuomo was? Yeah, I mean, this is...
Let's go, 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 go!
New York Times newsroom looking for fresh anti-Semitism.
All right, this is it, people. Let's move. Let's go, 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 go!
Okay, I'm going to cook one up. They're going to say, New York showed that an Italian cannot champion anti-Semitism accurately. New Yorkers, confused by Zohran's name, thought he was Jewish and voted for him. That could be one, maybe. That's the other thing. Like, this is even crazier when you think about it than Hussein Obama. You know what I mean? His name is Zohran Mamdani. His father's name is Mohammed Mamdani. Zohran Kwame Mamdani. Wild. Once again, what you see on Twitter, it seemingly, is not real life at all. New Yorkers are finally anti-Italian once more.
It's the second campaign in a row in which a candidate who has spent a lot of time in Westchester County and does not understand what winter is, perhaps doesn't understand what it's like to be a New Yorker living in the winter in a cooped up space, no matter how rich you are. Second time, first Andrew Yang and now Andrew Cuomo saying it is a campaign, everything is chaos, which is...
I mean, Andrew Yang and Andrew Cuomo both literally, for some weird reason, believed their own memes that like all New Yorkers care about is Israel. Because I remember Andrew Yang doing some shit like that too. It's kind of crazy. Like I always, whenever people like constantly talk about Israel in like the New York mayoral race, which happened last time as well, not to the same severity as this time because of obvious reasons, but like when they do that, I would always get mad. I'd be like, dude, this is stupid, right? Like, this is just a way to gum up the works. This is just a way to try to like eliminate anyone that has like any sort of conscience about Israel's behavior, Israel's activity, right? It was not Muhammad, it was Mahmoud. My bad. I said his dad's name is not Muhammad, it's Mahmoud. My apologies. Listen, and then they would always say, oh, you have to talk about it because New York has a lot of Jewish people. And again, I would get very mad because it's like, okay, but there are Jewish people in New York. They're not Jewish people in Israel. They're Jews in New York. They're not Jews in Tel Aviv. They're in New York. They're New Yorkers. They're Americans, right? So I think what ended up happening for a lot of these guys, because like Andrew Cuomo spent every waking moment being like, Zohran he hates Jewish people. He hates Jewish people the most. Zohran, mommy dami, hates Jewish people. He never talked about his policies. He literally just barely even made a dent in the notion that he had experience, which, by the way, we know what kind of experience he had. He had experience, like, you know, doing sexual assaults to cops, okay? So I think, like, people probably were like, what the why do I care about this?
I think this is a stunning result. I think the early votes, who they came from, where they come from, are staggering. We've never seen anything like it. Now, also, we have to reflect what's happened here. Zohran ran a positive campaign talking about affordability. Cuomo ran.
Damn, this is ass cheeks, this audio. It might be because of the, I'm not bi, nor am I straight. I'm a Cuomo-sexual. After careful deliberation and consulting the literature, the Cuomo campaign, Democratic Majority for Israel, and Glenn Dubin gave to me, I have decided to endorse the only man for the job. Next week, let's make our voice heard. Yeah. Travis, this guy said he would arrest Netanyahu for crimes against human rights if he came to visit New York City. This is what this guy said. This is a disaster. Oh, that's so good. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All the liberals who were upset about, Zohran Mamdani being a socialist or whatever, just enjoy how much the Republicans are going to lose their minds over this. Please, just, it's time. We will forget all the stupid tweets you put out there. We will forget all the, this is a safe space, okay? All the liberals who were constantly complaining about Zohran Mamdani, he's too radical. He's too radical. I want, I don't know, one of the other guys. We will forget. We will forgive as long as you enjoy the moment.
This guy said that he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu for crimes against human rights if he came to visit New York City. This is what this guy said. This guy said he wants to replace police officers with social workers, Sean. If you need help because you need the NYPD, this guy says, no, we're going to send you a social worker instead. This is a disaster, maybe unbelievably worse than Chicago, worse than LA. New York City is on the cusp of electing the worst mayor that they have ever chose. Bill de Blasio. People are going to be wishing that he was the guy.
Dude, they're having aneurysms. Oh, that's so awesome. That's so sick. That's so sick. Oh, all right. CNN is back to talking about the Iran nuclear sites looking real bombable again. Oh, my Lord. Looking submissive and bombable. Adam Carlson had a decent take on this as well. It turns out that the sexual predator who was funded by Republican mega donors who cut Medicaid, stole from the MTA, who lied about the nursing home death toll during COVID, who was the physical embodiment of the Democratic status quo, was not what New York City primary voters wanted. It's coming. Fidel Castro is coming.
In 2021, still some of the political figures who called on him to resign back then turned around and endorsed him for mayor this time. A political road to redemption that's proving rockier than anticipated for a man who has led virtually every poll since announcing his candidacy for mayor in March of this year, March 1st of this year. The numbers, not what they hoped to see. Jake, Jessica.
extraordinary turnaround.
Exactly right. You know, Cuomo's been out of the game since 2021 when he resigned over the sex assault scandal, sexual harassment scandal. And I think what he was trying to do was
Mamdani doing autocrat numbers in Bushwick, Ridgewood, and Astoria is amazing. Mamdani walking through Crown Heights tomorrow. That's right. Y'all thought he was Shia. Turns out he's a Baathist, dude. That's right. Baathist party, secular socialism, rise up. Yeah, he was a different kind of. Turns out he's not even Arab, but turns out he was an Arab nationalist, a pan-Arabic nationalist movement understander. Mamdani won 72% in Greenpoint. That's crazy. Man, imagine if the stream was in New York right now. It would have been so good. Okay, everybody calm down, okay? It's fine. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. New York City's soul is rotting. Oh, my God. Oh, that's so good. Genuinely don't know anything about the mayor of Chicago. Why is such a talking point? Because Brandon Johnson was, he was also like a leftist hopeful, but Chicago is so cooked, even more cooked than New York is. Like New York, you are beholden to the real estate lobby and Wall Street and many financial interests, but you still, and also Albany. But in Chicago, it is the alderman's show. And it is, Chicago is even more corrupt than New York, really. And he got held back quite a bit. He's very unpopular. The Chicago mayor is very, very unpopular. Partially because of the corruption and partially because he just wasn't very good at his job. There's no better way to put it. All right, let's see.
Courage, competence, collaboration, and compassion. And with thanks to
Chinatown swept by.
I also know that the only way
Cuomo's losing several precincts in Flushing to a socialist. John Lew's endorsement looks like it helped here. Chinatown in Manhattan is a Zohran sweep. Let's go.
be twisted and risky and slow. Will we prevail?
White Chinese rise up. By the way, there are numerous hurdles here, okay? You have the general, which will be an issue. Not as big as an issue, but still an issue nonetheless. But you also have, then have competence when you are the mayor, because the same issues that I was mentioning will still obviously persist. The same issues will obviously persist as far as like when he is mayor and he does try to do some of the things that he wants to do. I have confidence in him. He seems like an earnest person. So I have confidence that he will push very hard.
Thank you all for being here tonight. The votes are still being counted, and the ranked choice tabulations will take a few days. But this much is clear. Together, we are sending Andrew Cuomo back to the suburbs.
Even as a joke, you should not glaze the USSR. It's so bad for our cause. Shut up, bitch. Go out of here.
With our help, Zohran Mamdani will be the Democratic nominee for the mayor of the city of New York. And we are on a path to win a city that all New Yorkers can afford and where everyone belongs. I really can't put into words what the support of everyone in this room tonight means. You all did so much to make this campaign possible. There are leaders here from organizations and people who supported me long before it was cool. I want to especially shout out Make the Road Action, Tough Action, Choose for Racial and Economic Justice. You heard just a few minutes ago from Public Advocate Chumani Williams. We have some other amazing people in the room, like State Assembly Member Emily Gallagher. Thank you. And I'll mention
Wasn't there a whole thing about Lander backstabbing Zohran? No, he did not do that. As a matter of fact, I think he stuck close by his side. I mean, it doesn't. It
How
seems
about everyone
like
who made a contribution to
it
this
seems like
campaign?
Zohran's performance doesn't require much from second round ballots, but he will carry him. Most likely, he will carry him across the finish line.
Years. I really can't believe you all did that. It is incredible. I always say that really the thing I am most proud of in public service is building the best teams, and we have the best
Brad
one
Lander
of all.
literally did the opposite of Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders. He stuck close. He stuck close by Zohran's side the entire process, and he sat there as people just looked foolish. Okay, this dorky-looking progressive Jewish man sat next to Zohran Mamdani as people yelled at Zohran over and over again about how anti-Semitic he is, and he just sat there and was like, he's not anti-Semitic. That's it. That's like he was by his side, very clearly a principled person, and definitely, I mean, what he did with the ICE, what he did with the ICE agents, like going and getting literally arrested, trying to save someone from being deported. Like, he's clearly a good person. He's clearly a principled person. He had every opportunity to take advantage of the momentum to be like, yeah, he is anti-Semitic. You should vote for me instead. I'm the real progressive. And he never did that. I don't think that should be discounted. I don't think it was as cynical as the way people say it is. At least the way he carried himself was, I think, very impressive.
Really, your devotion, your passion, your belief in me as the right leader for this city mean more.
And yeah, he was already doing that before he got photographed getting arrested. He was doing that already. He just happened to also be arrested while doing it again.
And everybody else who worked on this team. I also need to thank some of the most important people in my life and on this campaign. I mean,
Just now, Zohran's comms director tells us he's feeling very confident, gives credit to the relentless focus on an economic agenda.
Just kidding, of course. I love Wordle and Connections, but I really urge the Times to cancel their new feature, editorial riddles. No one likes those. No, obviously, I mean the set of people
didn't work.
who are standing here behind me.
What did
My
Egg Boy say?
incredible
Cuomo and all the people who
parents,
lined up
Carol
behind him
and
absolutely
David.
deserve to lose. Just an absolutely cursed series of decisions. Oh my God.
I'm sorry
oh
that
my
Andrew
God.
Cuomo.
Egg Boy, don't even act sweet right now. Don't even. This is your L to hold too, bitch. Who did Egg Boy even talk about? He was like, he had like a immediate out the gate loser that he was pushing for. He actually was also another one of these he also was another one of these like anti-Zohran. Now listen, when I said like liberals, this is your opportunity. It's okay. We'll let bygones be bygones. We won't criticize you. Obviously, Matt Iglesias is not one of those rats that are jumping the ship right now as it's sinking. Okay? That's a little bit different. It's just like, yeah, if Cuomo ran a better campaign, he would have won. Is so funny. Like all of the silly shit that Cuomo represented and all of the centrist Democrats once again showed their ass on the last second. Okay? All of the centrist Democrats showed their asses. Bill Clinton came out and was like, only other guy that does rape as good as me. I have to do it to him. The OG, the legend himself. Remember, I made him almost. Did he almost make him HUD secretary too? Like, he's my day one. We love Epstein.
Is just like such a dramatic understatement. I genuinely cannot believe my good fortune. You were brilliant the other day when I was detained and you held it down in front of that crowd.
Part of the elation among progressives tonight is about Israel. It wasn't just
Even
that
though
Mamdani
you
survived
hate the
opposition by
mic,
AIPAC, is that he
and
refused to
even
back
better,
down
on Friday,
and even leaned
when
into the
we
suffering of
went back there,
Palestinians.
you should have seen
That too.
we saw a
That
family
plays a role in this
separation
as
right
well.
before our
I mean, he
eyes.
moderated his message quite a bit.
A woman 8 months pregnant with her husband like ripped from her arms as we are
Zohran
standing
moderated
there, like
his message quite a bit on this stuff because he was constantly getting relentlessly hammered. And it's a good moment to recognize once again that courage, bravery of this sort, saying what you actually mean and making sure that it sticks and being unafraid to say the truth about things like this, especially when it comes to Israel, when there's like an unlimited amount of bullying that takes place if you actually say the truth about Israel being an apartheid state, something that virtually every human rights group agrees on, okay? Every single one of them, and that Israel's doing a genocide. These sorts of things are no longer impossible to contend with. You can just say it, and it is a moment of relief for a lot of people, I think, that they can't even like gum up the works with this nonsense anymore. Felix, I can't be the only Jewish Democrat taking this tonight. It's over. He's going to murder us. It's too late. Okay, you have to stop sending me Felix Biederman tweets while there's 70,000 people in here watching. There's like people's parents are watching right now. They don't understand what is going on. God, Jonathan Greenblatt is probably in here watching. He's going to be like, look at this tweet that he laughed at. That's a real post from a real Jewish New Yorker who is voting on the Democratic ticket. He's going to be on MSNBC tomorrow being like, Zohran Mamdani, Hasan Piker, Kanye West. Who's the most anti-Semitic? Who knows? And nobody can tell.
It really has been the proudest, hardest, most humbling, and awe-inspiring time in my whole life. And I mostly just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who heard our call for a mayor who's got the integrity to end the era of Adams Cuomo corruption. A mayor with the progressive values that New Yorkers share. And a mayor with the government know-how to deliver on them.
I hear a lot of people talk about Zohran's supposed political instincts, but someone who is ruthlessly focused on becoming mayor of New York City would not die on this irrelevant job on the hill of intifada just means struggle. Oh my God.
2 weeks ago today.
Oh, this is from a couple weeks ago. I thought he was still posting this.
Tonight. Honestly. And then the very next day, that New York Times opinion panel said I was the best candidate to lead this city. And a few days later, Ezra Klein followed it with the nicest things anyone has ever said about me other than Meg and my parents. And then that night I got up on the debate stage inspired by Marek, and I hope I made you proud by showing New Yorkers just how unfit Andrew Cuomo would be.
The candidate of people who walk around wearing Friends of the IDF shirts around the Upper East Side is doing very poorly.
Survivors of sexual harassment.
Get fucked, bozo.
We're not going to allow that in our city government. That we're going to insist on a government that tells the truth, that stands up for folks who are undocumented, that insists on honesty and integrity at City Hall. It is not too much to ask for.
What's happening in New York City is a blaringly loud message to those in the Dem establishment who still cling to old politics, recite focus group talking points, and are too afraid to say what needs to be said. We have a lot to learn from Zohran Mamdani and his campaign.
That we're done with.
Bro. There are people out there that are giving this advice for free 99, okay? Free 99. It shouldn't take for someone to overcome to take on this Herculean task like Zohran, coming out of nowhere and being propped up by simple people power, for the goddamn Democrats to actually turn around and say, hey, maybe we got to change our attitude here. Maybe we got to change trajectory. Stop following after things change, okay? Stop being followers. It's okay to be a leader, all right? It's so annoying. And my fear is that the Democratic establishment doesn't want to win anyway. So instead of looking at this moment and learning a very important lesson that there is a lot of mobilization that can take place. There is a lot of animosity towards the way things exist in this country, okay? And guys like Zohran, populist messaging that hyper-focuses on alleviating people's day-to-day stresses, their economic pressures that exist on top of them, is a successful method to campaign with. They can do this. But the issue is, do the Democrats want to do this? Will they actually do this? because that requires them to basically drop the corporate oligarchy, their corporate benefactors. New York City swung right in the presidential election, but just nominated a Muslim socialist for mayor. This country isn't getting more right-wing. People are just fed up with cowards who don't stand for anything or care about making anyone's life better. This is not the vote we envisioned. I don't believe we are winning this primary election. Cuomo campaign advisor Frank Cedillo, ex-chairman of the Brooklyn Democratic Party, told Cuomo will run in the general election and the fight and deliver ballot line. He said, we're just transferring the race to the general election. Of course, this is what's going to happen. That's why I said the fight is not over. 75% Bangladeshi vote. This ad paid off. Bro, you told us all elections the Democrats simply are just going to become more right. Way? What? Are just going to become more right way? What do you mean? What? I mean, the Democrats have become more right-wing. They clearly have. This is a direct attack against that, because while they're going more right-wing, they try to make it seem as though they're doing this not for their own personal benefit, but because they want to win elections. They constantly present this alternative vision where there is this moderate voter who wants the same kind of fascist policies of Donald Trump, but just more gay, more smug, more elitist. That's not real, okay? That's not real. That's not what Americans are looking for. They're not looking for the gayer version of what Trump is offering. They're looking for any kind of vision that breaks the existing system, because the existing system they recognize is not helping them at all. A big part of Trump's appeal comes from the fact that he's a mallet. He's a hammer that destroys. In the eyes of people, he is a hammer that destroys all of the institutions. He doesn't destroy it to rebuild it. He doesn't destroy it in the right ways, okay? But at least it's a change, is the way that a lot of people
campaigns. But I have to tell you, this was a really special, talented group of people. I want to thank all the elected officials who stepped up. I want to thank the labor leaders who stepped up. I want to thank the carpenters, where we got it started in HTC in 1199. Give them a round of applause.
You suck. Also, those pig unions too, bro. Jesus
really
Christ.
Fantastic. I want to thank Mayor Bloomberg, who stepped forward in a big way. I enjoyed having the team back together again. I'll tell you the truth. People came back from when I was at HUD. The old HUD team came back. That's 30
As a
years.
New Yorker, I am a Muslim. As a New Yorker, I am Jewish. As a New Yorker, I am black. I am gay. I am disabled. I am a woman seeking to control her health and her choices, because as a New Yorker, we are one community.
That's crazy. I can't believe he brought that back. That was wild. Did you guys hear that?
We discussed. But tonight was not our night.
Why did he say that?
Tonight was Assemblyman Mamdani's night, and
Mamdani,
he put together
Assemblyman
a great
Mamdani.
campaign, and he touched young people and inspired them.
Hold on,
and
I gotta get
moved
my
them and got them to come out and vote. And he really ran a highly impactful campaign. I called him, I congratulated him, I applaud him sincerely for his effort, and let's give him a round of applause and thank him for his campaign. Now, I want to look at all the numbers as they come in, and this ranked choice voting, and what the numbers actually say and do. There is no doubt that there are important issues that are facing this city. That's why this election is so imperative. That's why so many people came out to vote. because these are real issues, and they're not getting better, and they're getting worse, and that's why New Yorkers are as concerned as they are. So the challenges we face are real, and they deserve real consideration. And I want to give some thought about the best way to help address them, the best way to help the party, but most of all, the best way to help the city. And that's what we'll be thinking about as we go forward. So we'll be looking at that. We'll be having conversations with that because the work is what is most important, and the city is what is most important, and the progress for the city at this important time is what is most important. And in the meantime, I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
We won, right,
your
guys?
Really fantastic
We won.
effort and friendship. Again, I want to applaud the Assemblyman for a really smart and good and impactful campaign. Tonight is his night. He deserved it. He won. And we're going to take a look. We'll make some decisions. But I love each and every one of you, and I thank you for what you've done. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just answered. Thank you.
Trump's first post about Mamdani is going to be very funny. I know. Oh, get wrecked, dude. Oh, that's so good. R.I.P. Bozo. Just don't run. Just save yourself the dignity. I mean, you're not a dignified person, but I mean, the smart thing to do is just not run. Don't even run. Did he just concede? No, I don't think he conceded. Did I misunderstand something? I don't think he conceded at all. No, the plan for them always was if they don't make it in the primary, they will hit the he kept saying he won, but I think he was just talking about like the primary. If you guys think, no, it's not a real he conceded by saying he won. He said he didn't commit to running again. Oh, what the well, I don't want to believe because I'm a big Cuomo supporter, as you guys know. So I don't want to believe that Andrew Cuomo actually conceded. I hope not. I was really excited. I need a New York mayor. I need New York mayor cop rapist to win again. What are you guys telling me? He's not going to run in the general? What? I don't understand. He all but conceded. It all depends on the media coverage from this point forward. He's not willing to be embarrassed by losing in the general. It's a pride game for him. Okay. Well, is Richie Torres going to be okay? Because I think he said that he wasn't going to run for governor if Richie Torres is Felix Biederman. I apologize to anyone who committed suicide due to my last post. I will slash prices on cameos for any affected families. Anyway, the rest is for Cuomo supporters only. It's a sad night. But as always, the answers are in theory. We must become like fish. Upstate is our ocean. This is the book I read when I feel down as well. And also when I feel horny. In both instances, this is my book. This is my comfort book. Wait, Richie Torres, Zohran win. Richie Torres says, no thanks to 2026 gubernatorial run. To have like a far left mayor who's strategic and smart actively working against you, that just feels insurmountable. Wait, no. Not... Guys, you're telling me Cuomo might not run and Richie Torres might not run for governor? Stop playing the victim card? What? Stop it. This is the worst night of my life. I don't understand. Those are my two favorite politicians. Well, At least Andrew Cuomo can go back to working on the international criminal court case against war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, which he weirdly enough decided to join the legal team of. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of time on his hands now if he's not running for mayor. That was the reason why I like him so much. That's a man with an eye for justice right there. That's right, by the way. For those of you who don't know, Andrew Cuomo famously, for no good reason, decided to join the legal team of Benjamin Netanyahu. One might ask the question why that is even a thing. Andrew Cuomo, okay, Sally Goldenberg says, senior editor for Politico says, just conceded Democratic primary for mayor in New York City, Zohran Mamdani. Cuomo had a universal name ID, 25 million PAC backing him, and tons of institutional endorsements. Mamdani is a 33-year-old socialist. The magnitude of this cannot be overstated. Bill de Blasio comments. What's my other socialist king saying?
I should note that you were urging people not to rank former Governor Andrew Cuomo. He was. They were the two frontrunners going into this. It seemed like based on the polling. But you do think that ultimately he's going to pull it out here based on what you're seeing so far.
Richie Torres. Richie Torres. I don't know if you're watching. We're coming for you, Richie. Poorest district in the nation, Richie. We're coming for you, Richie. You're probably not going to survive another one of these races, Richie, but you better go work for a lobbyist real quick. Maybe get a job at AIPAC or something. Oh, no, Richie. Oh, no. What was Richie Torres doing the last election cycle that he was on the ballot on coming up to the general? Oh, that's right. He was too busy posting not about his district, poorest district in the country, but instead was posting about a Twitch streamer, the only progressive Twitch streamer, as a matter of fact, in the top 10 live streamers in this incredibly right-wing infested space, trying to get him deplatformed. Oh, Richie, you got a real nice seat there, man. Emerson College poll, round 1, February 3rd. Cuomo at 33%, Mamdani at 1%. Listen, this is the first time I'll say it. Maybe podcasts do have motion. Now, this isn't obviously that, but there is a tremendous amount of effort paired up with Zohran's own personal charisma and his incredible team. Like, all of it came together so perfectly. A lot of resentment against establishment Democrats in general, running up against someone like Andrew Cuomo. But yeah, this is wild. This is wild. I don't know what to say. I mean, this is insane. This was a real people-backed movement for a guy that don't get too comfortable, folks. The numbers from Israel aren't in yet. Yeah, that's true. You helped this? Not me. You did. When we went out there and we were walking through the streets with Zohran and all the people that were coming up, those were, people that work in his campaign. Those are you guys. You guys did this. You all played a role in this. You went out, you door knocked, you canvassed, you phone banked, you told your friends, you made unique content. This is an amazing moment for sure. And yeah, shouts out to Brad Lander, 100%. I think he had every opportunity to Zohran, every opportunity, and he stood by him. Respect to Brad Lander. Are you going to start apartment hunting? Like, maybe I spoke too soon when I said if Zohran wins, I'll move to New York. Tensions were high. I don't know what I was saying. Start packing your bags, buddy. You can only live in Brooklyn, or we will roast your ass. We need a chopped cheese review to validate your stay. That was just, I was not thinking. When I said things like, okay, remember, Lolo said he would get a biryani tattoo. Alexander Lull overruled. The people's lawyer said he would get a biryani tattoo. Zohran is potentially the next mayor of New York City. Okay, he just won the Democratic primary. He has to get the tattoo before I even talk about moving to New York City. I also said for a brief time period. I didn't say permanently. I mean, don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. Saw this TikTok of you and him. Which one?
Oh yeah, you're an eater. You're a feeder and an eater. You're a real ass eater.
Maybe you could have arranged those words a little differently.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah. Let me call him up real quick. I want to see. He's probably at like the Zohran party right now. Let's see if he picks up. Everyone's probably partying. Hello? Alexander Law overruled. You're live on the Hasanabi broadcast. 70,000 people watching. I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Have you gotten the biryani tattoo yet?
Is that really why you're calling me?
I mean, happy birthday also. But yeah, that's part of it.
Oh my God. Did Cuomo concede?
Yeah, he did.
Over for the Italians.
Yeah. That's right. It's never been more
Did
over.
you tell them that you didn't come to my birthday?
Yeah, they know I'm in Los Angeles. Yes, they know. They know that I'm not there. And I wish I was there because I'd be getting lit right now if I was there.
Yeah.
I know.
Supposed to be a
Why are you not celebrating? Why are you home? You sound like you're not at a party.
I'm depressed.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'll be there. I'm waiting on wait, are you depressed because I didn't come to your birthday party?
No.
Okay. What are you depressed because you're getting older? Is that what it is?
My birthdays make me sad.
Oh my God, you're so okay. I'll be there. I'll be there soon. Don't worry. I'm waiting on confirmation from Mahmoud Khalil's team, but I'll be there. I'll be there this week, most likely.
Okay.
But I'm scared because it feels like New York is like a radical Islamist safe haven. Like I'm a little worried. Like, will you protect
you're
me?
flying into the caliphate, baby.
Will you protect me?
It's gonna be Sharia law by the time you get here.
I know. It's a very scary state of affairs.
I'm scared.
Yeah. I'll hide you. Don't worry. Yeah, I'll hide you. Islam is the light. Now that Americans are finally learning the ways of Sharia, don't worry.
They're going to be doing, TSA is going to be doing Crystal Knock tonight.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. They're going to overturn all the Lime scooters. All right.
It's already happening.
All right. Well, I love you and hope you're doing all right. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to hold you account. Wait, why did you say love you back?
I love you too. I love you too.
You better, dude. What is this shit? All right. All right. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abdullah rasulullah. Recite it with me, okay? Chatters, now that New York City is a stronghold for the Islamic Caliphate, you are going to need to learn some words. What I just described to you is the Shahada. It is the first thing that you need to recite to find the light of Allah, the light of Islam, and bring it into your hearts, okay? Once again, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abdul rasulullah. Okay? When you say that, you are now officially Muslim. Why are people saying astaghfirullah, brother? What do you mean? This is good. If I got like at least 5 people to say it, I'm going to Jannah. Okay? Like, what are you talking about? I'm getting so many Muslim points right now. I'm getting the most Islam points. Anyway, White Boy Jihad Summer. Let's hear what Bill de Blasio has to say.
And I think it's a combination. I did not expect Zohran to be leading with the overall #1.
Okay, so this wasn't our issue. This was like literally the Bill de Blasio had bunk ass audio.
Votes. You know, with our ranked choice system, the #1 votes tell you something, but they don't tell you the whole thing. I did not expect him to be leading at the end of election night. I think this is a stunning result. I think the early votes, who they came from, where they come from, are staggering. We've never seen anything like it. Now, also, we have to reflect what's happened here. Zohran ran a positive campaign talking about affordability. Cuomo ran a very negative, fear-based campaign. This has made a huge difference. People at this point in New York City, they are hurting for sure, but they didn't just want to hear how bad everything was. They wanted to have some sense of hope, some sense of solution and vision. And I think the big story here is Zohran Mamdani as a person came across as a much more likable person, a much more connected person in terms of everyday New Yorkers, but he also spoke of going somewhere good, not just what a horrible situation we're in and, keep the negative influences away. He actually created a vision of something positive that could change in the city.
We got like 30 seconds left. What does this mean for politics in New York City? I mean, would you have imagined a candidate with a platform like what he's run on would be in this position? What does that say?
It takes us right back, honestly, to where we were in 2013 when I ran. It was all about everyday kitchen table issues, income inequality, affordability, the same issues. I think it says the New York City electorate wants change. And they are progressive, and they had a candidate who actually made them feel comfortable.
Huh. Mayor Bill de Blasio, we'll wait to see who is the next mayor. Thank you so much for joining us on this breaking news. Thank
you. We saw this earlier. I want to see, God, I want more. I want more. I want to see hogs crying. I want to see more hog tears, bro. I will say I don't like using like Republican terminology, I would say, or like Republican strategies here, but this is the closest that the Democratic Party has had to like a Tea Party. And obviously the Tea Party movement was not grassroots. It was obviously AstroTurf by the Koch brothers. But like this right here is the closest to like an organic movement that could potentially take over the rest of the party. Who knows? The sky's the limit. The Democrats obviously are so invested in destroying their left flank unconditionally. So I don't know where this goes, but I will say this has the early workings of that. Like from the Tea Party to Donald Trump, this does seem kind of like that. And obviously, this is the exact opposite of the Tea Party. Their goals are psychotic and awful and will devastate the working poor, whereas leftist goals and socialist goals are clearly positive for the working class. So it's basically this like bizarro Tea Party movement almost. It's not AstroTurfed, it's grassroots, and it works in favor of not the status quo, but the working class instead.
And the tax base is gone, and sanitation is gone, and schools are gone.
Okay, why would crime go up?
Matt Walsh crying hog tears.
I will say, and then I'll let you in, Anna.
After hearing the news, I might have to reconsider my stance against regime change
Eric
wars.
Adams, crime did go up in the city.
And then went down.
Yes, but
that was during the pandemic.
Yes,
and migrants.
Exactly. But I'm just being clear. Crime has already gone up in New York, and it has come down. So even when crime went up in New York, there was perhaps some departure, but there was not a collapse of the tax base in New York City. Okay, Anna, go ahead.
Okay, so I am not a New Yorker. I live in Miami, where we don't have 50% tax rate.
Like I've already
we have our share of insane elections and insane politicians, but. This reminded me, you talked about the Dinkins election. To me, this reminded me of the AOC versus Joe Crowley election, where there was this establishment sacred cow who thought that because of his name and because of his pockets, he could walk into it. And there was a young upstart who put a lot of leather and a lot of footwork and boots on the ground and did it. And so you know, I would say when it comes to New York, do not underestimate the sweat of these folks. And by the way,
he won. I'm not underestimating.
I would just say this.
And I would not have voted for him.
If you were saying that Eric Adams is the person who's loves this result the second most compared to after Mamdani.
He'll be the anti-Mamdani.
But I will say this. The people who hate this result the most are the Democratic establishment. We have seen poll after poll after poll showing Democratic voters fed up with their leaders in Washington, fed up with their leaders in government. And all of a sudden, Andrew Cuomo, who 5 years ago was leading those COVID, press conferences, was this guy who was held up in such high esteem. And now all of a sudden, the best he can do is what, 37%?
62% of Democrats.
What happened in those
They were talking about 62% of Democrats say that their party
Republicans
had
the Tea Party. This is the Chai Party taking over the Democrats. And I've run campaigns for Republicans all over the country. If they turn to 33-year-old socialists who've never run popsicle stands, that's great for us. We'll win a lot of elections.
So can somebody explain this to me now?
Dude,
so
no,
this could
definitely. Definitely, buddy. Definitely. You'll definitely win major victories in the New York mayoral race looking like the pedophile that you are, okay? Yeah, bring up Curtis Sliwa. I'm sure that is going to be a real banger with his 50 cats. Stupid-ass dork.
Compared to when Democrats did the same thing.
Mamdani getting more than 1,600 votes in AD 48, which is mostly the Orthodox neighborhoods of Borough Park and Midwood. Can't wait for you to dig up his speech from second grade, Jacob. Oh my God. Yeah, what happened to Bill Clinton? The Bill Clinton endorsement is so funny now. This is how you know the same people who ran the Kamala campaign, ran the Cuomo campaign, they had the same idea for their ace in the hole. It's good. It's not the worst thing, okay? It's not the worst thing. Let him keep running dog shit campaigns against strong primary candidates and lose every time. Matt Iglesias. Dude, Matt Iglesias was chirping about how you should never listen to the DSA yesterday, okay? I don't want to say what I truly want to say because I will get banned off this platform, so I'm not going to say it, but I'm thinking it, and you can't stop me from thinking it, but Matt Iglesias yesterday was like, nah, you should never listen to the DSA types. Nah. Like, shut the up, dude. Shut up. Shut up. You've never had any motion. You've never had any momentum that wasn't backed by corporate interests, okay? He is such a indecent shark. The major problem with a lot of these dumbass establishment candidates and also their backers in the commentariat is that they just sit around and wait to get their notes from the Democrats, and they don't stand for anything. They don't stand for anything at all. They get dominated by Republicans who actually do stand for something, evil, okay? They stand for evil, but at least they stand for something. Democrats don't stand for shit. So they're constantly on the defensive end. They're constantly sitting around and consistently capitulating to the right-wing issues that they are dominating over the media ecosystem with is so stupid. That is what I'm saying. If according to Left Populist, the best Left Populist campaign's performance level can win a primary in New York City, then what are we even arguing about in terms of winning a national majority? Shut the up. You said he couldn't even do that, and now you're like, oh, well, it was an easy victory. So why couldn't Andrew Cuomo win then, dickhead? Why couldn't Andrew Cuomo win it then? He had literally the Cuomo name. Charlie Kirk from the top row with 2001 levels of racism. 24 years ago, Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. Jessica Tarkov, my queen. Charlie, this is so gross and Islamophobic. Take it down. I think he knows. Jessica, I think he knows. I think that's why he posted it. Zohran is winning majority white, Asian, and Hispanic precincts tonight, and the majority black precincts are not the landslide Cuomo hoped. So many characterized it as a campaign for white socialists / transplants, and it was never true. Yeah, the business community is having a panic attack. Laura Loomer freaking out about Muslims. Yeah, no, shit's going to get so much worse. New Yorkers forgot all about the victims of 9/11 killed by Muslims. Now Muslim communists will be the mayor of New York City. Get out while you can. Yeah, that Zohran hater who wore that huge yellow bring back the hostage pin got like 0.9% Lamau. Yeah, because his bring back the hostages pin was too small. I told you when I saw that pin, it needed to be way bigger, bro. They couldn't see the pin. They couldn't see. They could not see how little the pin was. They couldn't believe it. They were like, you don't care about the hostages, it seems. If he wore a much larger pin, he would have gotten he would have cracked 2%. That guy was in the race exclusively to over Zohran, by the way. He was there for that alley-oop from Cuomo to whatever the fuck his name is, I forgot. Hyper-engaged, college-educated, white liberal moment. My aunt who lives in Manhattan says the Clyburn endorsement soured, negatively polarized her against Cuomo even more. Clyburn, Bill Clinton, Bloomberg, etc. Keeping the old guard does not bode well for Dems. This is what I meant by the Dem establishment not being discredited. It is, and it should be. Republicans are doubly because this racist angle of attack won't work well when facing Adams, a black man. I mean, there's no Republican motion anyway. Oh, Sam. Uncle Sam. He said, ahem, Senator Schumer, might a congratulations to the winner of the Democratic mayoral primary in your city be in order? Oh, that's the other thing. They got to kiss Zohran's ring. David from, well, at least we can retire the faded and false line. Anti-Semitism has no place in New York City. Bro, Jewish New Yorkers voted for him. What are you talking about? These guys are literally hysterical. They live in this like weird ass echo chamber where they think like, where they're just like, no, you don't understand. Jewish people are terrified of the Zohran victory. It spells trouble. It's anti-Semitism central in New York now. It's over. They're going to do pogroms. They're going to do Kristallnacht. It's like so stupid. If anything, Judeo-Bolshevism is back in a big way, okay? That's what I'm looking out for. That's what I want. That's what I want. Rise up. It's feeling red hot, but not Republican, if you know what I'm saying. Islamogoshism and Judeo-Bolshevism have combined powers to become an unstoppable force, okay? It's clear that the false anti-Semitism accusations don't sink political campaigns anymore. Not all of Zohran's messaging fits mine, but I'm proud of him for not faltering on the Intifada even days before the primary. Yeah, that was so stupid. They were like, ooh, Intifada. But you said, he did not even say globalize the Intifada himself, which even if he did, so the what, okay? I'm sorry, it's 2025. You're afraid of an Arabic word? Is that what it is? Like we're upset now? Like get the out of here. Oh no, Arabic words are scary. Okay, well in the backdrop of all that shit that's popping off, there are literally like thousands of children being murdered. Miss me with your stupid ass false crocodile tears over here. Mohammed El Kurd, consider the Intifada globalized. This is how he won Staten Island. They all got flooded with flyers calling Zohran Hitler too. Not surprised he did so. Shit backfired. They were like, hold up. I was voting for Cuomo because he's a piece of shit. I didn't realize this guy's really, he's the real deal. Even Cuomo's afraid of this guy. Oh no. More conservative seething. This is one of the saddest days in recent New York political history. The Democratic Party has just nominated a mayoral candidate who refused to recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. Stop. Why is this? Like, you can't write this out loud. You can't put this out there, man. This is funny as like what does that have to do with the New York mayoral race, man? What do you mean? It's like me crying because Eric Adams is no longer the mayor of New York. Someone who is a strong supporter of Turkey must always be in charge of the most important city for Turks. New York City, the Istanbul of America. Like, can you imagine if I ran around all day, every day, being like, Eric Adams is unjustly maligned by the Democratic Party's forces for simply being a good friend to the Turks, okay? He's such a good friend to the Turks that he doesn't even go and get a hair transplant. He was doing it for the love of the game. Like, can you imagine if that was my #1 priority all the time? I was like, how good is a candidate to Turkey, okay? Jews must get to Israel. There's no other way. Aren't safe in New York. Saying this after 12 days of bombing due to Israel's own ambition of striking against an actual sovereign power, a nation state with ballistic missile launcher capabilities, and therefore having the entire state of Israel under lockdown for 12 days is also an interesting choice. You know, you're like, well, no, that's the safe place, actually. The place where there's constantly picking fights with everyone and also doing an ethnic cleansing campaign 50 miles down the road, too. Yeah, that's the safest place for Jews around the world, not Upper East Side, Upper West Side of New York. Does anyone even believe this shit? Like, I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, this is also correct. Bro, they were so Politico, which is owned by a German freak, okay, who does like loyalty pledges to Israel to even like join what is that guy's name, the German freak that owns Politico? Axel Springer. Lolo said, I'm it's true. It's true. That bitch ass, he got a tattoo and it wasn't biryani. That's true. More tears. It's white boy jihad summer. Dude, this is my favorite thing that people do where they're like, I can't believe this guy is not even joking. He's being sincere. Like, he wants to do like what I think is jihad. Slasher, I must get to Israel immediately. Please charter me a flight with the only Jewish pilot I feel safe with, Felix Biederman. Too late. He killed himself. Oh, man. I can't wait to see what Trump cooks up against Zohran. I can't wait. Kaya, come here. Place. I can't wait. Place. I can't wait to see what Trump cooks up against Zohran Mamdani. It's going to be crazy. Hassan is whiter than you are, though. They're getting confidence since the Islamification of the U.S. is a success. Alleviating the economic... Oh. If Zohran Mamdani becomes New York City mayor at the age 33, it would be a death blow. I know exactly where this joke is going. It'll be a death blow to millions of young South Asian men in this country. Every Desi parent is going to be like, Zohran was mayor of New York City at 33. You haven't even bought a house yet. Why can't you be more like him? Oh, dark days ahead for South Asian men. Oh, it's true. Kaya. Place, you just got back from a walk. God damn, girl. Update from the podcast Occupied Government. I saw this already. We come for the Red Scare podcast tomorrow. That's right. It's over. It's over. Now we await from Zohran.
You know, we'll see people do the more detailed breakdown by assembly district and so forth.
I really
this
did.
Is just
I really did a major fail by not going to New York. I should have.
The orange is for Zohran, and if you look at Brooklyn, that's where he really runs up the score, about a 17-point delta there in Brooklyn. We expected Mamdani to do well there. We weren't sure about the other boroughs. I mean, Queens was a borough where it looked like Cuomo.
Zohran won. We're in the bomb shelter.
Instead, Mamdani winning Queens by about 8 points. Of course, the vote
You're
tally
laughing.
is not complete.
You're laughing.
Manhattan winning by about 6 points.
Comedians had to go to the bomb shelter because Zohran won the mayoral primary, and you're laughing. You think it's funny? You think it's funny? This is real. Lol, no one named Zohran will ever win the New York City mayor race. Good luck with that. Updates on the New York City race. Oh, he's thinking about it. I told you in a phone call with the New York Times, Andrew Cuomo confirmed that he was conceding the Democratic primary for mayor, but was still considering whether to run in the general election in an independent line. I said he won the primary election, Cuomo said. I called it. I said I wanted to look at the numbers in the ranked choice voting to decide about what to do in the future because I'm also on an independent line. And that's the decision. That's what I was saying. I want to analyze and talk to some colleagues. I'm telling you, dude, he's not. Oh, yeah, reminder that the Piker Broadcasting Service is brought to you by the viewers. Please subscribe to keep the show and its editorial independence. You can subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Get those subscriptions out! PBS! You can subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime as well, or gift subs for others. Most Jewish city in America, and Netanyahu's lawyer ate 3 plates of dog shit. Man, you love to see it. Yeah, it's not even the most Jewish city in America. It's the most Jewish city in the world, by the way. New York has more Jews than Tel Aviv, if I'm not mistaken. What are we doing? What is this idiotic narrative? Can we please put this dumb shit to rest? After tonight, I think we should please never entertain this. Because leftists do this shit too sometimes where they're like, oh, well, they have to talk about this. They have to talk about this because there's a lot of Jews. There's a lot of Jews in New York. They don't give a f. They're American. They live in New York. They don't live in Israel. Shut the f up. Dude, it is the easiest thing on the planet. If you are a Jewish person in the United States of America, it is literally the easiest thing on the planet for you to live in Israel. Israel begs you to go live there, okay? Jews here are actively choosing not to live there because they're American, okay? Because they're American. They might have some family members that live there, okay? Maybe they don't talk to them that much. Maybe they do talk to them, but, you know, they're just like, I'm not going to live there. I don't give a shit. They're American. They're New Yorkers. It's so annoying. I hate this shit. Oh, you gotta glaze Israel, dude. You have to say that Israel has to be a Jewish ethno state. Like, you have to make sure it's a Jewish ethno state. You have to say it as the running for New York mayor, running for local dog catcher. You have to say it. Please say it. It's bullshit. It's fake. That's the reason why AIPAC, when it's hammering in the Democratic primaries, never talks about Israel. When AIPAC is dumping $30 million, why don't they ever bring up Israel, even though Israel is the reason why they're dumping $30 million into a primary? Let me tell you why. Because they know nobody gives a nobody gives a about Israel. What are we talking about? And the people that do give a either are like insanely invested and they're marginal, or vote for the Republican Party because they're psychopathic evangelical Zionists who think that like this anime style end of the world thing is going to happen if all the Jews are shipped off to the desert. Or there are people who actually care in the opposite direction, and those numbers are much higher. Thank you. I wish your district in Delhi could vote. This is honestly a nightmare. Polymarket predicts Zohran Mamdani as the winner of New York City mayoral race with a 99% chance. This is really... Bro is in Uttar Pradesh. Why? From Uttar Pradesh posting with the Israeli flag, thinking that people don't know where they're from. We know you're hood, little bro. We know. If someone who wants to literally put Netanyahu in jail can become the mayor of the most Jewish city in America, then maybe my prediction that America would break with Israel in 10 years was too conservative. Might be coming much faster than that. AIPAC lost massively tonight. No one buys their obnoxious gaslighting anymore, Jewish voters included. Hey, so are we tight with the next mayor of New York City? Kind of, yeah. It's true. Hasan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.